Hey guys, welcome back to Rant and Bollox. We've got a commentary here for you and a really exciting one. It's Infinity Wars, and we haven't done this for a while. We haven't done a commentary for a while, have we, Paul?
No, we haven't figured out how to do it internationally, or it's not internationally, nationally, whatever. We're not in the same room, so if this sounds weird, that's why.
But we worked it out. We worked it out well. We're pressing play just like you guys would be pressing play when we press play. But we did take like that year break, and this movie did come out during that. It's such a huge film, and we wanted to get this one out for you guys because Endgame's going to be out in 2 or 3 weeks.
What's
So
Endgame? I haven't heard of that. What's that?
it's just this little film by Marvel. You know, their
Okay.
23rd massive film.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
might,
think
I
it's
might
got.
catch it on Netflix or something. Whatever.
Yeah, I think it's got Batman in it and Martha.
Nice. I've
Yeah.
always liked those DC films. They're more adult.
They're more adult. It's got that gritty vignette over it, hasn't it?
Yeah, like this film's a real happy ending to it, if I remember correctly.
um, but yeah, guys, we're gonna chat through this. We're gonna give you some Easter eggs. We're gonna give you our thoughts. Paul's probably gonna go into some detail. We're gonna rage. We're probably gonna cry. And,
You're gonna have to take like every 5 minutes. You're just gonna go real quiet because you haven't seen the film in a year or so. So you're gonna be like, "I love this bit. Shut up. Let me watch this bit."
that is true. There's a few scenes in here which I think are just incredible, and like they almost need like stop talking moments, but we're going to talk over those moments.
Yeah.
But there's so many great characters in this as well. So it's going to be a joy to watch again. I believe you watched it recently, Paul, though.
Yeah, I did watch it again just because like I said, I was going through all the other Marvel movies, and then I was just like, I'll watch this one again. And this one, it's still, I can't even say many good things about this movie.
Yeah, it's up there with the good shit.
Yeah.
The other thing that you guys will notice is we don't have a review for this film on our channel either. Again, it was out during our break as well. So you'll get one of those. So you get a proper review. Kind of watching this commentary, you'll get our review from it. But there'll be a lot of you out there that won't be listening for 2 hours, 40 minutes.
If at the end of 2 hours and 40 minutes you don't understand our feelings on the movie, a review's not going to help.
Yeah, exactly. But enjoy, guys. And if you have any questions, we can't answer them because this is going on right now.
But leave them in the comments and we'll try and get around to them.
Leave them in the comments, of course, and maybe we'll get.
If you have any
we'll get
questions,
to some of those
keep them
during
to
the world.
yourselves.
I did that on purpose, by the way. That wasn't just like a default, like, oh, if you have any questions. It was genuine. So, but yeah. So the way we usually do this is we press play at the same time, and we'll let you know what screen we're on, just so you guys can sync it up as well. So Paul and I are in, Vancouver and Toronto, and we're doing the exact same thing as you guys will be doing. So we're on the Marvel Studios logo with the silver kind of going over it, and the 10 has just lit up in red. So we are going to press play then. I'm sure you can sync it up with what we're talking about as well. So
are we going to count down from 3 or count up to 3? That's the real question.
We'll do a 1, 2, 3 play.
Now we're doing 1, 2, 3 on 3, or is it 1, 2, 3 after 3?
Well, I was thinking like 7, 8, 9, 3 play.
Yeah,
just
that
to
works.
Switch it up.
Yeah.
So now we'll do a 1, 2, 3 play, and then as we say play, it's a press the space bar. So it's a 1, 2, 3 play kind of thing like that. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right.
We've spent enough time now figuring that out.
Yeah.
I think everyone's left by now. You've all turned it off. It's like, these fucking idiots.
Yeah. The only people listening to this is us, just to make sure we did it right.
Oh, we should also say, don't watch this movie with us if you've never watched this movie, because we're going to spoil it in like the first 5 seconds.
That's a very good point. Spoilers ahead. If you are watching it for the first time with us, thank you very much, for trusting us. But I wouldn't trust us.
No.
That's all. So
I'm sorry if you're watching it with us.
yeah,
first time or not.
Wait until you see fucking Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, I should say. That'll be a good one.
That's the sequel, Superman versus Batman.
Yeah, that's all they have to do. Reverse the things. The guy, all they have to do is mirror the logos. I'm done.
I did it. Same guy did the Suicide Squad trailer.
Good lord.
All right, we haven't even started this movie. We're already shitting on DC movies. I was going to see how long it took us in this movie to start shitting on a DC movie. We didn't even
Oh, it
get
doesn't
to the
take long.
play. Oh,
It
let's get
doesn't take
going.
long. Okay, off we go. So we're gonna do a 1, 2, 3, play. Okay.
Okay.
So we're moving.
We're moving.
Things are moving.
It's fading out, and if you're listening real close, you can hear a voice. Here's a first bit of trivia. I don't know if you know this. The voice on the radio that you can hear bubbling up saying, "Oh, this is not a Warcraft. Please don't attack us." Do you know who that is?
No, but I heard somewhere that it was someone like an Easter egg thing.
Yeah, it's one of the last things they added to the film. Apparently, they had a guy, and then they said, "You know what? We should get somebody else to do this." It's Kenneth Branagh, the director of Thor.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and also famous Shakespearean actor.
Those are the little details I'm glad are in the film. You know.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I was just like, "I know that voice. It's Kenneth Branagh." Old Hamlet himself.
Oh, so good.
And I didn't know this, but the guy who plays Ebony Maws, I was listening to him, and I was just like, there's something about him that I couldn't quite pin. And I think it's just because I could hear an accent. And I don't know the actor because I haven't watched the show, but he's a big actor in Ireland in a show called Love Hate. So he's an Irish actor who's playing Ebony Maw and doing like the mocap and all that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, even though he's an alien, I could hear an Irish accent out of him.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're from the homeland, you can always tell. I guess. There's always something there. One thing I have to mention just from watching it is how dark it starts off with that music and that soundtrack. Even with the Marvel credit intro, it starts off with just evil, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's listening to the commentary, which I did with the Russo brothers. They said the one thing they realized they had to do straight away was not give you any time. So everybody has to be on the back foot. Like there can't be any wasted time setting things up. Yeah. So they're like, we have to just start this straight away.
Right.
We have to just be like, Thor's already got his ship, and all that. It's all done. Thanos is here. Thanos has a gem or a stone. And it's like, just get going. And people have to catch up.
It's kind of funny just seeing that scene right there. And he had the glove. He's only got one stone. You're like, you fucking idiot. There's like one light lighting up there. It's like, and then obviously by the end of it, the whole bloody thing's going. But this is a sad bit, man. I was watching this in the cinema. Obviously, we all were, but I was like, shit is going down right now. And also, this is at the end of Thor Ragnarok as well. You know.
Yeah, at the very end of Ragnarok, there's the after credits bit, which is the two of them standing there looking all happy, and then the Thanos ship comes up out of the sky and puts the big shadow over them. And this spoiler, when Loki dies, is kind of, it has to be permanent. Like even if they go the route of like it's a time thing, and they're gonna go back in time and they're gonna fix it so he didn't click his fingers. They can't go back this far and fix this. Yeah, no,
I know, and also, and another thing is he's died before, or like fake death before. So I feel like you can't do that again. You can't just bring him back again, So I think this is definitely it for him, because people won't. If he was to come back and then like do the time stone, whatever, people just wouldn't fear for his life anymore, or fear for people's lives in the Marvel universe,
Yeah. And here's Hulk straight away, the strongest guy in the universe.
And I love the size here. Like Hulk is the size of Thanos there,
Yeah.
And then he's struggling.
I remember this in the cinema, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the Hulk. He's gonna do it." And Thanos just owns him. And I think that the key with it is just he looks like he's a better fighter than the Hulk. There's no. Like the Hulk is all rage, the Hulk is all power, and Thanos is just.
What this is? This is Anthony Joshua and Wilder.
It is. It's just skill over like brutal strength, but at the same time, Thanos is strong as the Hulk, if not stronger.
Yeah. Now, is that what was the purple stone? That's good as well. Just like whacks a bar over his head.
The stone he's got now is the Power Stone.
Yeah, so that's giving him the power to
Yeah.
beat up the Hulk. So yeah.
And then that's the one he steals from Xandar. So by this point as well, like if you're doing the time, the time zone, whatever, Xandar has been maybe not destroyed completely, but there's a lot of dead people on that planet because Thanos went and got that stone. And now half of these Asgardians are dead because he kills half of everybody. Heimdall's dead, and Loki's about to die. Like, to do all this, like you said, have a dark start, and then the end of Endgame, they're just going to be like, oh, yeah, we're just reset everything. That would be so shit. It would just be terrible.
They just can't do that. And they won't. I have 100% faith that they won't do that. But, like, as dark as this scene is, this is the funny thing, man. In 10, 15 minutes, we're going to be laughing our head off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I love about this film, is like they really, really got me here. And I was like, this is opening dark, and it's like I'm seeing all my favorite characters like die, or, where's Valkyrie and stuff like that. And then 10 minutes later, I'm laughing my head off at like Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're sad again, and then suddenly there's a massive action scene. It's a really nice balance.
Which is something that happened when I watched the original Avengers, which seems like a small movie. And like looking back on it now, I was like, yeah, the Avengers worked, it's great. But before it worked and before they made it, it's like, how are you going to fit like 7 different characters in and Loki and have a gem and all this? It's not going to work. Yeah. And obviously it did work. But with that movie, at least everything was kind of on the same page, on the same tone. Like Iron Man and Captain America are the same basic movies in the same universe. But this movie, you've got a giant purple man, you got a talking raccoon, a tree, you got these other worlds, you got ghosts, you've got aliens, and you got a Spider-Man, and you got a Black Panther, and you get like everything has to come together in this one, which makes the first one look like a child's play movie of like, oh yeah, just put them all together and they're fighting New York. Whereas this one, you got to go like 20 different places. And like you said, you got to get the tone of, okay, here's Loki getting killed, but here's, they're making fun of Chris Pratt being fat. It just, it's so much to make work at once.
And every film had like its own vibe and directors and stuff like that. So, and they captured the feeling of them all. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, when they were introduced into the film, it wasn't done in like a different way. Like, you could tell that someone else had done it, It was like, no, it all blended in nicely. They had their own kind of characters, and they blended in with their Thor character and the more serious kind of Tony Stark and stuff like that. So everything kind of blended nicely. So it wasn't like they changed a character just to fit the film,
No, I think we're not even watching the movie. We're just talking about it in general. Look at poor Loki. Oh no,
I know.
The thing.
I think everyone in the cinema knew at this moment that he was fucking done. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the key with the gauntlet in this version of it is he has to have his fist closed, which happens later. Right. Obviously, they're trying to keep his hand open.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right.
It's a little bit different in the comics. The gauntlet was just a glove that he stuck the gems on, and here, obviously, the dwarves make a weapon. It's like something that can hold the power of the gems.
Yeah.
So the weapon is sort of triggered when you close your fist.
Yeah.
But at the very end, Thanos kind of has mastered it. Like, this is jumping way ahead, but he's mastered to the point where he just clicks his fingers and makes it work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Everything up to that, he always has to close his fist to make it happen.
Yeah, because I remember there's that scene where Iron Man shoots it, and we'll see it obviously.
Yeah,
but like, and tries to stop him from doing
you see there, he closes the fist. That makes all the ships blow up. Now Valkyrie,
that's a nice detail. I never really kind of noticed that.
Yeah, but it's at the very end when he's kind of got all 6 stones and he's mastered that he just has to click his fingers. And here, there was a point that it just comes up later on where Thor says it, half of the people get killed. He's always killing 50% of the population. So there's a good chance that Valkyrie survived this, and all the other guys that we like are still alive, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think Korg
So
is going to pop up and go, "Fuck you, Thanos, piss off, Thanos."
so I did some research as we're doing this film, and I can say that it's been confirmed that Valkyrie did escape along with some other Asgardians. So they have said that, and in the Endgame posters, there is you're still there, yeah?
Oh,
Have you disconnected? All right. Seems like our friend Paul is disconnected here, but I will be calling him back for the. Hello,
balls.
sir. You all good?
Yeah, it cut off there for a second. I don't know why.
That's all right. I mean, you're still recording your audio anyway.
Yeah, it's still running on
Yeah,
through.
still doing the same. All good, guys. That's just going to happen with connection issues. But what I was just saying there was it's been confirmed that Valkyrie did survive with some other Asgardians. But we'll also see her for sure because she's in the poster of Endgame as well. It's more of like we will avenge our friends, but her face is on it, which means that she's definitely featuring in the film.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to see Korg, but I don't think they're gonna.
Oh my god, I forgot about that guy.
I don't know if they'll stick Korg in there just so you can go piss off Thanos, but maybe they will.
Oh man, that'd be so good.
I was gonna say as well before you had your point about Valkyrie, just for the comic fans, there's a lot of throwbacks they have to the comic in this. So when Hulk comes through the roof of Doctor Strange's house,
Yeah.
that's Silver Surfer in the comic.
Right.
So now they could put Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four into Endgame if they really wanted to, because Disney have completed the purchase of Fox by the time between the two movies. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they ever would make such a gamble of just being like, here, let's throw in these crazy characters. But there's a big part of me that just wants the end of the Endgame to turn into the end of the comic. And at the end of the comic, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Warlock, all these giant gods like Eternity have to fight Thanos. Like, he's so far beyond fighting Thor's fucking hammer and Captain America's shield that it costs like the entire universe's most powerful creatures to try and take him down. And I'm like,
funny,
they could do it. Marvel could do it. They could just be like, you know what? Screw it. We're throwing in this 60-foot giant robot looking motherfucker out of nowhere. I was like, oh. But I'm pretty sure anything they do is going to be good. Except if they make Captain Marvel solve all the problems.
Yeah. Just to make sure we're all synced up, what you seeing right now?
Avengers Infinity War. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd give it a 2 thumbs up. 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, huh?
Yeah, it'll get better. For now, it's mostly just like, what's going on? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing the stones floating around with the guys looking at them.
Yeah, they're doing the whole, here's what happened. Actually, I'll jump ahead just a moment in this scene. Like, I was thinking about this when I was watching the commentary of the movie, and I'm like, Strange has the time stone. And I'm like, I'm overthinking. I'm like, what would you do? What's your plan? How are you going to solve this? Well, why doesn't he go back in time, travel across the universe, and stop Thanos getting the first stone? Because he knows where he's going to be, and he's going to do. And it's like, you're trying to solve the problem, but the thing with the movie is, within like 30 seconds of Tony Stark learning that there's this guy coming, the aliens are there. And it's that idea of like, they're always one step behind Thanos.
Yeah.
So it's not a plot hole or anything. It's just like, they don't have the time to come up with a better plan. They're already chasing after a guy who's like 3 steps ahead.
Yeah, it's a very good point, because like Banner just smashed through. They're all kind of together right now. It's the first time I've seen Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. Suddenly, before you know it, like, Tony in a second is going to be like, what's going on outside, That's how quick they are,
Yeah.
So, and it's always difficult when you have time travel in a film as well. So this is one way of answering it in that, like, yeah, they're too quick
Yeah.
to act, you know.
And
To act on it.
this is also just to get in, like you were saying with the tone. You went from this really dark thing to Robert Downey Jr. being Tony Stark, and it kind of like it kind of warms your heart. It brings you down. It makes you feel optimistic. And then Strange has a little bit of banter, and Hulk has a bit of banter, and they make these jokes about ice cream and stuff. And
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing is like we just watched Loki die. Like Loki was awesome. We just watched him die, and a bunch of Asgardians and fucking Idris Elba just went and all that lot. And then now we're all kind of excited again, and the reason being is that we've not seen Stark and all of these guys in the same room before, so this is super interesting again, you know, that dynamic.
yeah,
So we're like, oh, you're seeing all that, and that's what's going to happen in Endgame. The cool thing I like about Endgame is that you're actually going to see Stark and Captain America again in the same room, because they weren't in the same room during the whole bloody film, were they?
no, like it's what's happened
So
here is he's having to explain it to Banner, who's been gone for 2 years, and it's like,
that's it. Yeah.
we had a little bit of a falling out. You broke up like the Beatles, like a band,
Yeah.
like what?
Doesn't he pull out a flip phone?
Yeah, it's here. He gets his thing, and he's
Yeah.
just like,
And it's called Rogers. He's called Rogers, isn't he?
yeah. I really like the. It had to be Mark Ruffalo, I think. Out of all the actors, for me, he's the best actor in any Marvel movie because he's just a incredibly great actor.
He's
if you want
very,
to,
very
if you want to see him, have you seen Foxcatcher?
I have, yeah, the wrestling one, yeah.
Man, that film, like he's like a different human being. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
moves differently. He's that good of an actor. But I'm just saying, like when he's the guy who's looking at Tony and he's like, it doesn't matter who you're talking to or not. Thanos is coming. It just sells it.
Yeah.
And I think for Banner, who's like the smartest guy next to Tony, he's the one voice that he would listen to when he says, Tony, this is bad. You got to get your shit together. So there's, he's taking out his AT&T flip phone. A little bit of advertising.
Good old Razor.
Yeah. I think that's a nice touch because it's like for somebody like Steve Rogers, that's the high-tech kind of phone that he would get.
Yeah.
So
I also like,
it flips open.
even though we're jumping ahead here, I do like Tony. He's actually wearing an Iron Man suit right now, but he's using the that new Vibranium or whatever it is.
The nanobots, nanites.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that he's actually got the suit on right now, and it's like a progression of how his suit's evolved, you know?
Yeah, he's getting smarter, and he's always developing things.
Yeah. Every time he gets smarter, the thing on his chest changes shape.
Yeah, it's just to show that he's getting different. But here it is, like, right away, something's coming, panic on the streets.
But also, at the same time, we've got Doctor Strange, who he's had his own film. We love him. We got Tony Stark. We got Banner. We're kind of not scared. Holy shit, we got Peter Parker. You know, we're like, what could beat these guys? What could beat these guys? You know.
Well, I like what they did with Strange in this is that his powers aren't like the Doctor Strange movie had to introduce magic in general, but in this one they kind of just upped it and said, you know what, we're going to let him do a whole bunch of new crap and we're not going to explain it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's going to do like here where he makes everything disappear, the winds of Watum. Doesn't need an explanation. That's just something he can do.
Well, it's also he's been training, and you can see how dedicated he was in his first film. So he's only just going to get better anyway. This is great. I like seeing this scene here, like the Peter Parker scene, him coming off the bus there. Just loved it.
But
it was just like that little scene there was just like I felt like I was watching the Spider-Man film, and suddenly now we're back at
Well, I was going to say the other thing with that when you talk about tone, apart from let's give a shout out there to Stan Lee when we should have said so, the great Stan Lee. Thanks, Stan. Was just
that bus.
If you've never seen the Spider-Man movie, even though the bit where he taps his friend, he's like, "I need a distraction," and then he's like, "Oh crap, we're all going to die." That's funny. That's Ned, and like for the people who know Ned, that's great, and people who don't, it's just a great funny moment. It's just they work with what they have, and they're like, okay, this is what we got to do. So here, like when Strange does his little, does his thing, and he winks, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't need to explain that. That's the level of power he's at.
Yeah, they do a really good job of this guy. I'm not the best of names. This guy's what's that wizard dude?
Ebony Maws, Maws, or Maw.
They do a great job of him. He's an evil fucker.
Yeah, and he's real powerful. Like he just kicks the crap out of Strange.
Well, you can tell when like Thanos says like, "Is he dead?" You know, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yes," and he goes, "Today's taking a grave toll" or whatever. But he really comes across as like a powerful guy, and
Sorry.
I love how he goes.
I love
out
this
as well.
bit though. Just
Oh yeah.
they're just like, get the fuck out of here. Don't give a
This
fuck.
is the first time.
Shut
this
up.
is the
Get
first
the
time
fuck out of here.
This is the first time Banner has actually talked to the Hulk
Yeah.
in the Marvel
Oh yeah, and
films.
yeah. But I just mean that bit before it where they're just like, get the fuck out of here. He's like trying to make the big speech and give the big evil thing. He's just like, Earth's closed today. Get out.
And then you just hear him there. He's just like, "You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards."
Yeah. But that's the thing. It jumps around, and I think it's because like even if you haven't watched it, there's so many things to say about this is good, but mostly it's like if you're a fan, everything here seems legit based on what we've seen before. And if you haven't, they're all such good actors that you can kind of just buy into it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there.
And
I love that. He just flings him into a car.
Yeah. I'd love to know, have you, like, I know one person who hasn't seen any Marvel movies until this one, and they loved the movie. They couldn't explain a lot of what was going on. They needed a lot of thing. But they just said, oh, yeah, it moves real fast and like the special effects are great and it's real funny. And, you know, I didn't see the ending coming. Like, have you met anybody who hadn't seen any Marvel movies or like had a limited exposure and like watched this?
Honestly, I haven't. I think most people had seen them before, like caught up before this one came out.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing because we're obviously going into it with 22 movies. We've seen all 22 movies before.
Yeah, we've
this.
kind of our judgment's clouded in a way, but like we're seeing it as a proper viewer. But this film is also out there for people that haven't seen all of the Marvel films.
Yeah. So like this Hulk moment is funny. It's great, and I also like it because it's set up in a way that if you're a movie person, there's the rule of thirds or the rule of three, whichever way you want to put it. But it's that you do a joke 3 times or you do a moment 3 times. Good old Spider-Man saving the day. It's that you, for example, you have one guy slip on a banana and then you have the guy slip on a banana again. And then at the end of the movie, he makes the bad guy slip on the banana or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So in this film, for me, I'm watching and like they had the rule of 3. They have Hulk tries to come out here, doesn't happen. Hulk tries to come out later, doesn't happen. And then at the very end, he's like, okay, Hulk, it's the last second. You got to do it. And you think the Hulk's going to come out then, and he doesn't. And they kind of, they know your expectations and they give you what you want to see, but they don't give you everything you expect to see. So like at the very start, the Hulk runs out and beats the crap out of Thanos, but it doesn't happen. Thanos beats the hell out of him. You're like, oh my God, I saw the Hulk fighting in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That usually happens at the end. So you're happy you got that, but then they don't give it to you in the way you expect because he loses pretty badly.
100%, yeah. It's so great, but it also kind of makes you look forward to it in like the next film as well. Like you're like, oh, he's got to come out in full force kind of thing.
Yeah. But then there's other moments like coming up that are probably some of the most exciting moments for the fans is like when Captain America turns up and he's awesome and he kicks the shit out of people.
Such a good scene. Such a good scene.
But even things like with I love that joke Tony has. It's like, what's going on here? There's an alien coming from space to steal a wizard's necklace. But this is what I mean about if you watch this, like they're always on the back foot. They're trying to chase him down. They're trying to get the wizard. They're trying to get Strange. And by the time Spider-Man's lucky enough to get him, he's getting beamed up into space.
Yeah.
And now Iron Man has to go up into space. So now you've lost Iron Man, Strange, and Spider-Man in space before they've had a chance to contact any of the rest of the Avengers.
I know. And this is all within the first half an hour of the film.
Yeah. And we're just racing through it. Like
this is great. I love that you got this Groot and then suddenly, this big guy, and then suddenly, boom.
Yeah.
So good. And then introduce a little bit of funny. So
yeah. Wong, you're invited to my wedding.
Yeah. But then this is where it starts to get serious. Like that scene that we just watched there, it was all like kind of your typical kind of Marvel, like obviously very cool. But now it's got serious. Like shit, they've got Doctor Strange here. This guy is some serious shit. And what's going on with Spider-Man? He's being brought into space. Stark's coming after him, but now it's got serious again. Well, it's getting serious, you know.
Yeah.
But
I
more
always
serious than like any of their standalone films.
Oh yeah, like this opening 30 minutes is probably the last 30 minutes in any other movie.
Yeah,
And the thing when I watched it again, and I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man, obviously the new Spider-Man and the Homecoming, is that if you watch Spider-Man in kind of like an objective way, he's like the most heroic person next to Steve Rogers.
I was just about to say because he's basically risked his life there. He was just going to pass out and die.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, thanks for the suit," and he tries to send him home. Like Stark's always trying to look out for Spider-Man because
Yeah,
he's worried about him, but at the same time, I think he kind of recognizes this kid is just pure good. Like he's just
yeah,
he has no thought of himself. He jumps on this spaceship going into space, and he's like, "You're going to suffocate, kid." It's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." So yeah, he's a bit of an idiot in that way, but it's also he's just he's always going to try and do the right thing, even if it's going to get him in trouble.
yeah.
And then you have a little tone shift here where he has to say goodbye to Pepper, and now we're off.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
done. That's it. Apart from
Film's
Peter
done?
still hanging out.
Oh yeah. I wasn't actually expecting that. Him. I thought he was going to be fighting more on Earth. I wasn't expecting him to be up there. So, but I guess if you give him his suit, you got to use it.
Yeah. And then we go back to the phone.
Oh yeah.
And I'd say this is probably my best like technical movie moment. Like the movie to me is just like this is something clearly the directors did, and it's also really funny. Like you have all these scenes happening, you have all this stuff happening, and then when they introduce the Guardians, the way they
Yeah.
do it, it's just instead of having like New York or Wakanda or whatever as like the title, it's like space.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious and stupid, but like it works because that's the characters. Like it just makes you part of the characters.
Yeah. And again, and the music as well.
Yeah, and they bring in a great track. You said it that they match the tone of all the other movies.
Exactly.
I heard.
We're in like James Gunn's kind of universe, aren't we?
Yeah, but I think they brought Gunn in to help write some of the dialogue,
I did hear that. Yeah.
which is good. And now he's back for the third movie, so that's good too.
I love that. Jax is just freaking asleep.
Yeah.
So good. Apparently, I heard that Chris Pratt was such a bit of a character on film that Tom Holland kept cracking up. So while he was doing his scenes with him later on, he said he found it quite hard because he just kept on smiling or cracking up on stage.
Yeah.
So I guess the bloopers were there was some long bloopers there.
Yeah. I've also heard that in the new movie, Endgame, they haven't told Tom Holland anything except his lines.
Yeah, I can believe that. I think him and Banner have leaked like a good portion of Infinity War by accident. So
Well, Holland is just so excitable.
Holland's apparently he put the Endgame like poster on Instagram like before
I
officially
remember
released. Something like that. So
All right, you said leak, which makes me want to take a pee. So you're on your own now for like 30 seconds.
all right. We've got some teenage Groot going on here as well, which is great. Great to see. I'm sure we'll see him grow up even more in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, so now we're just like kind of transforming back into dark times again. And these guys are about to meet Thor, which again they just smacked into Thor there. And within a couple of minutes, we're going to be laughing because it's like some funny scenes. This is a man. Let's see, we've got some funny shit going on. Yeah, just getting some of the space scenes in here. So we're used to seeing Guardians of the Galaxy in space, and then in Thor Ragnarok, it was a lot more of that space and kind of neon look. So they were molding those galaxies together, and now when we see Thor with these guys, it's not so foreign. We're like, yeah, okay, they were in the same galaxy, I guess. So, and it's great to see these guys interacting as well. Oh yeah. So good.
Who the hell are you guys?
Who the hell are you guys? I was just saying how Thor Ragnarok had like a lot more space scenes and kind of the neon kind of space look, and then that was Guardians of the Galaxy. So they kind of like were molding those two movies. And then now when you see Thor in this universe, it's not as foreign. You're just like, oh yeah, I can see how they would bump into each other. Whereas like if it was Tony Stark, you'd just be like, what the heck? What's he doing there?
Yeah, because I think they made Thor's world, like Ragnarok obviously expanded his world off into aliens. Although he already started. Asgardians are aliens.
Yeah, he travels around the galaxy anyway.
I was gonna say I watched Guardians 2. This might be controversial, but after watching again, I think I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more than the first one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think they're on par with each other.
Yeah.
I enjoy both of them. Yeah.
But when I'm watching again, it goes back to my dream of having like the gods turn up. The fact is, Ego's a celestial, and in Guardians 1, the celestials exist, and then nowhere, right, which they're going to in this movie, is the giant head of an old celestial. Celestials are all these like godlike super beings. Yeah. So there might be other celestials out there. Maybe they show up. Maybe Galactus shows up. I'm just going to keep dreaming.
That's all you can do. Yeah, but, I mean, again, we're back to like some. This is a great scene.
What are you doing with your voice?
I remember laughing in the cinema. I don't laugh out loud in the cinema much, and I remember I was laughing out loud.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's my favorite joke in the whole movie. There's some cracking moments in it.
This scene is kind of up there for sure.
Yeah. Are you mocking me? Are you mocking me? Drax has got a good few funny bits in it too.
Oh yeah, isn't he staring at him at one point or something?
Yeah, he's
invisible.
I'm so still, I'm invisible.
I'm going to take a leak myself, so I'm going to leave you guys with Paul for a couple of minutes.
All right, so Alex's pin code is 41.
Oh, well, more importantly, you guys are going to do a shot. So.
Oh, that's true. That's 2 shots in like 5 minutes. We're getting them drunk.
All right, back in a minute.
Yeah, the Collector's also one of those kind of like, at least in the comic version, the Collector, for people who don't know, is a cosmic being. He's an immortal. And then you've got the Beyonder, and you've got chaos and order and eternity. And you're trying to figure out if any of these are going to be in it. They've always hinted at something being in it, but I think they've physicalized the universe down to be the stones do this. The reality stone isn't as crazy as it is in the comics, and there's a limited range on things. But that being said, at the end of this movie, Thanos' power levels allow him to kill half the universe. I don't think they're going to bring in Mephiston, which is like the god or the devil incarnate, or Lady Death, who is death incarnate. I don't think any of those cosmic entities are going to show up, but there has to be something grandiose to sort this out, because Thor's axe doesn't do it. Captain Marvel is on a power level similar to Thor from the looks of it. She's not going to do it. On a practical level, nobody's going to be able to beat Thanos the way they've always tried to beat him. Like, you're not going to throw a vibranium shield at this guy and beat him. Rocket's not going to make a super weapon that's going to beat him. There's a level of power that has to be stepped up to that's going to matter. Or it could just be the theory me and Al have. They're going to go into one of the stones. They're going to go into the Soul Stone or the Quantum Realm, and they're going to beat him from the inside out, that kind of thing. Not as exciting, and probably not the way they're going to end it. What does the rabbit know?
All right.
I was just telling
So,
everybody that I really hope they've got some big finale to Endgame sorted.
oh wow.
But I mean, like in
Um,
a level, like I was just explaining, like Thanos' level of power
yeah,
is beyond what we've ever seen in the movies before. Like you can't beat him by hitting him with a hammer or with a shield or
yeah.
with the repulsor rays from Iron Man's suit. Like it has to be something has to be introduced that's on a power level we haven't seen before.
Um, so an interesting thing. Again, I know you don't want to know about spoilers of Endgame, and I won't. This isn't one, but they released like like basically a clip from the film, 30-second clip, but it kind of answers one of my questions during our Marvel Captain review, and I was like, well, where the hell was she? And let me just tell you that one of the Avengers literally says the same thing to her, and says like, where the hell were you, kind of thing, and then. There's answers to it, but I'm so glad that they showed that clip because it's like I'm asking those questions, so obviously a lot of other people are as well. So in this little teaser, because you wonder through this whole film that we're watching right now, where the hell is Captain Marvel? Apparently they did want to introduce her into this film, but they wanted to give her own introduction first before. Because like if you just introduce her in this film, people aren't going to care as much, and she's such a powerful character.
Yeah. And I don't think, like I mentioned her, I don't think she's powerful enough to beat Thanos.
She isn't, no. Yeah, for sure. You need all of them. Scotland.
I did see this is actually Scotland, by the way. They did film in Scotland for this.
They fucking better do for the price they're paying for this film.
Yeah, it's true. What's the estimate? Like 500 million for the two of them combined.
It's it may be a silly question, but it is more than Justice League, yeah?
Oh yeah, I think it's $500 million because they filmed them back to back.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because they filmed basically all their Endgame scenes. It's just like, it's just been a lot of CGI and story building, I guess.
Oh yeah, like all the characters and I heard it the other day. It's something like 3,000 digital effect shots in Endgame.
Wow.
Like 3,000 shots.
One thing that you brought up with this film is that there is no extended version to it, is there?
No, like this one's
this is the film.
2:30. Yeah,
it makes our life easier. We're watching the same film. You're not watching extended cut. You're not watching, whatever.
The director's cut, yeah.
And I believe the same thing will happen with Endgame. Endgame is going to be over 3 hours long. This one's 2 hours 40, so we're going to get another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wear a diaper. Going to the
scene that we're watching right now, they are trying to show how Vision is becoming more human, isn't he? Because the thing,
he just got stabbed.
I know. The one thing with Vision is I always thought that he was a little bit like a Captain Marvel, like almost too powerful, and they really downgraded him in this.
Yeah, that one stab, like that stays with him for that wound screws him up for the rest of the movie.
Mm. But,
although I think at the end
that they were coming.
Yeah, I think at the end of this, he's gonna lose. Obviously, he loses the stone, but I don't think he's going to die.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if it's been in the posters or anything, but the look of him when he turns gray, there's a vision that looks like that in the comic, and I think he's going to lose the stone, but he'll keep a lot of his powers like phasing and flying and all that.
Yeah.
And he'll be in the next movie, but he won't be. He's going to be kind of robotic, for lack of a better word. Like a part of his personality is going to be gone. That's what I think they'll do with him, because the simple fact that he didn't disappear, but he's not really alive at the same time, means that you can easily bring him back.
Yeah, I think you're right there as well. And then I guess it's kind of different, but like with the stone that they were analyzing from him, they definitely got data off that for sure.
Yeah. So like when that's gone out of his head, he's losing part of who he is. But like Banner says it later when they're trying to take out the stone, it's like he's made up of Jarvis and he's made up of Ultron, and he's got a lot in there that's more than just the stone. So
it's probably going to be like Tony's probably going to be like, hey, I've got like a backup thing, but we need this and that. And then back in Wakanda, they're going to be like, well, I took 35% of it.
Yeah. And from an emotional standpoint, you got a lot invested in him in this movie. And if he comes back in the next movie, what you got is you've got a character who had his girlfriend kill him and then came back from the dead only to have the stone ripped from his head and then have his girlfriend disappear. Like he's got a
He's
lot
been
of
through a bit.
yeah, he's got a lot going on that's like worth a bit of screen
Yeah.
time.
We're coming up to one of my favorite moments in the whole film.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty great.
I was speaking to a friend about this at work as well, and he's not a huge like Marvel fan, but like he said, yeah, this is a memorable moment for me as well. He's just like, this is pretty fucking cool.
The thing with this, with the music, is this was only supposed to be a temporary score, and then they watched and they said we can't put any other music on this. It has to be the Avengers music.
Oh yeah.
Did-a-dun, did-a-dun, did-a-dun. Because it's the one like heroic moment in the whole movie. It's like, yes,
So
he's back.
also, I think I was reading that he's wearing his original Captain Marvel uniform or his Winter Soldier one, but he's ripped the tags off it. Like he's
Yeah,
ripped all the,
like if
kind
you
of the
if you
badges
look at
and
it
stuff.
closely, you can see around the star that there's
Yeah.
rips and things are pulled off.
Yeah, which I love, and like, so there's a big debate online as well. Are you with the bearded Captain America or the non-bearded?
Oh, it's a tough call. He's handsome either way.
Yeah, he is handsome either way. I'll take him either way, but I think I edge to the beard. He's got something rugged about him there.
Yeah, he looks cool with the
pulls it off.
beard, but I can understand him shaving it off because it's kind of that's the original soldier version of him.
Yeah,
The clean cut hero version of him.
that technology of just beaming him out there.
Yeah, and then they're gone. And it's like, okay, well, that's that out of the way.
Sometimes I wonder, like, when that ship's there, why isn't it like just Earth? You know, like F-116s, F-16s, whatever, flying in, but they probably got shields.
Yeah.
So.
And it happens in the space of like 5 minutes.
It's also a comic book movie.
Yeah. We don't have
Can't
time for
answer
it. We don't have
everything.
time for your logic here.
That's my one issue is with time. You know, like the time stone. It just really fucks with a lot of things because you're like, why not? Why not? Well, that's why not
Yeah.
that. You know. But you can say that about a lot of films. So with not just time. So
That's why, yeah, we've talked about it to death, obviously. It's just, if they just go with the time stone fixes everything, it'll be ridiculous.
yeah, and I honestly can't see them doing that.
This scene is like, it's a great scene to show exactly what Thanos is. Like, he takes in this little girl and he's nice to her, and he's, has that little moment with the knife, and he's talking about balance, and he seems like he's a reasonable kind of guy. But what's happening is he's coming and killing half the people on the planet.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I remember some people were talking about, oh, why doesn't Thanos do this with the stones, or why doesn't he do that with the stones? Like, well, just look at this scene. He's insane. He's not like babbling and crazy and like blah 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 blah. Like, he's insane. He completely believes what he believes, but it's a psychopath. Like, there's nothing sensible about him. You can't reason with him and be like, hey, why don't you double the resources? Or why don't you make the universe twice as big? Or why don't you do this? It's like, no, he's crazy. He'll be really nice to a little girl, while in the background, he kills half the people on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of introduces like it's introducing his story, isn't it? And showing how fucked up he really is. And then Gamora as well. We're not really seeing this side of her either, are we? Which is good. I'm glad they kind of waited for this movie to show it.
Yeah. Well, this comes down to at the core of this movie. If I was going to break it down, the movie is Thanos' movie. Like, it's his film. He's the hero. He's the guy on a mission. He's the guy who's trying to get the Holy Grail. He's the one who's trying to get the secret weapon or whatever, so that he can do the right thing.
Yeah.
In his head. To the rest of us, you're like, oh my God, you're insane. But to him, it all makes sense. And so, killing half those people, including her parents, yeah, whatever. That's fine. That's the way the world has to be.
Well, here's an interesting little thing, because I looked this up and it popped up for me. Screen time for characters. I won't go through all of them, but you did mention, like, you don't know about this, but Thanos has 29 minutes around. This is roughly 29 minutes on screen. So Gamora is next with 19. So, like, obviously those two are like huge. Tony Stark's got 18 minutes. Thor's got 14. Strange has got 11, and it goes down from there, kind of thing. Star-Lord's got 10. But yeah, Thanos has got half an hour on screen, just him. And then Gamora is next. So those two are the stars of the show in a way.
Yeah, like it, and to do that in a movie where you're supposed to be selling it on the back of your Avengers it's brave. Like it's a bold move.
Hmm.
Because it's very easy to just say, "Oh, the heroes are here, and here's the bad guy, and look how horrible he is and how evil he is." But Thanos is reasonable in his own logic. He believes what he's doing. He believes what he's doing is the right thing to do, and you put all that together, and he becomes scary, but also you understand him, and that's the best and worst kind of villain because you're like, okay, this guy is unstoppable because he's doing it for the right reasons in his head, and I kind of agree with him.
I was gonna say, man, to what you get to the end of the film and you're kind of like, God, was this guy wrong? Was it like, I don't know, was he out of order or not? You know?
Yeah, and like to me, the last time that happened in a proper superhero movie is the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
Like the Joker's insane. He's crazy. He's burning people and killing them with dogs. But you can't disagree with everything he says. And you're kind of like, you know what?
Sorry, this is great. How long have you been standing there?
Standing incredibly still.
And this is like they've got the humor of everyone down as well.
Yeah.
Because like later on, you get the Thor thing with like the star, you know, and it's just like, it will kill you. He goes, and what if it kills me?
Yeah.
Well, then you'll be dead. You know, little things
Yeah.
like that.
The thing with Dave Bautista as Drax, it's a great compliment to him as an actor, is the Russo brothers who worked on a lot of good comedy shows, like especially like Arrested Development, some of the best comedy actors in America and the world or whatever. They say Batista's got the best timing of anybody they've worked with. He's as good as anybody they've ever worked with.
That's fantastic.
And he's just naturally knows like how to deliver a line, how to play it, and he's doing it as a character who's never dramatic. Like he's never over the top with like big facial, like trying that kind of style.
Yeah.
It always has to be very deadpan, very serious kind of like he doesn't get metaphors and all that.
Yeah.
And like for him to do that out of nowhere, they're just like, oh my God, he's so good.
This was an interesting scene actually. Seeing, because I think the reality stone or whatever, because they were seeing one thing but something else was happening. Like this whole place was destroyed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all destroyed by now. And if you see there the blue man in the background behind Gamora, that's Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. It's a little Easter egg that the Russo brothers put in.
That's funny. I'll have to
Yeah, if you go back and pause it, when she's walking up and just over her left shoulder, you'll see a little guy in one of the cages, the blue guy.
Good.
And if I remember correctly, he has a brother in this universe. The Collector does.
Oh, the Collector. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is now. It's gonna bug me. I'm gonna try and figure it out. Uh-oh, Drax is losing it.
Yeah,
he can't deal with it.
He's getting his knives out. But like, to be honest, like all the films that we watched with Guardians of the Galaxy, like his target is Thanos. You know.
Yeah.
He wants him. And
he wanted Ronan, then he wants Thanos, and
Ronan to get to Thanos, and now he sees Thanos, so you can't blame him for doing this. He's just like, I want to slice this guy up.
Yeah, because that's his character. It's great.
And that's his character, exactly. I like that.
A little bit of comedy.
Boom. Made some noise.
Oh, Josh Brolin. So weird. He's it's in Deadpool too. He makes the joke. He calls him Thanos, even though he's playing Cable in that movie.
Oh yeah,
good old Deadpool too. But it must be so weird if you've seen like him doing the motion capture, because like you said, he's the size of the Hulk, but he has to act and react and everything. Everyone has to look over his head and stuff, and sometimes he's on stilts or he's on a box and things. But he does a great job in this. And this scene's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
In terms of, he's a giant purple monster alien, but he doesn't feel fake in this movie.
No, I know. That was also a worry going into it. Is he going to look like super CGI'd? But no, you definitely connect. You connect with him.
Yeah, he's like the next stage of Gollum. Really, like Gollum's a weird, twisted little freakish monster thing, but you eventually buy into and you feel sorry for him and all that. Now, I don't think I ever feel sorry for Thanos, but I completely believe he's a character in this.
Yeah, this is fucked up, this scene, because of everything that's going on, and suddenly just seeing it all just go to
like after the scene where you see the past and like he took her in and stuff, and then you see he does this to her. It's like he's messed up. He's
fucked. Yeah, and then you see all this and you're like, okay, this is bad.
Yeah,
this guy is wrecking places.
Yeah, he's destroyed everything. And even that whole scene where he pretended to beat the shit out of the Collector didn't happen. So it's one of those questions: is the Collector dead or is he not dead? Yeah. You know what I mean? He could still be in it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And that's good. They kind of keep those little bits. This is a very iconic scene as well, having just like this look and feel here of all the fire around him. They used a lot of that in a promotional material.
Yeah. And it's like you were saying to me about the trailers and how they hide things in the trailers. And in all the trailers, I rewatched the trailer for this movie after I saw the movie. You can see that they left some of the stones out of the things. They make sure that the scenes that are in the trailers don't have the same stones in the gloves. Oh, nice. So you don't know where it is. So in the final scene where Captain America's grabbed his glove, in the trailer there's only 2 stones in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they don't show the fact that he's got the reality stone, he's got the time stone and all that.
That's great. Yeah.
So when Endgame comes out, which people are probably listening to this, Endgame's going to be out in like a week after this comes out. You might be listening to this after Endgame, you know it already. When Endgame comes out, you know we're going to go back and watch the trailers and figure out what did they lie about and what did they not lie about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually.
Because my girlfriend was talking about when she watched the Infinity War trailer, and she said, she watched the Endgame trailer, one of them, she said, it's pretty good, but it doesn't get me excited. Like, I remember watching the Infinity War trailer, and they had that shot where they're all running, and like, that's my favorite shot in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not in the movie. And then she's like, it is. So we watched it on YouTube again, and I paused, and I was like, you think that's in the movie? She's like, oh, Hulk's there. And it's like, yeah, Hulk's not in it. That scene's not in it. That's not in it. But that's what they sold the movie as.
Yeah, it's true, and I love it. They do it so well. And again, I know you haven't been watching the Endgame stuff, but there's a couple of scenes where I'm like, they're not all there.
Yeah,
like they're not all there.
I watched the latest trailer that came out, the 1 minute thing they brought out with the ticket release, but it doesn't give anything away. It just shows like things here and there, and there's nothing crazy. It's good, but it's like they don't have to sell it. They don't have to give you a big moment to be like, oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
because we've already bought our tickets, we're ready to go.
We've already got them. When they sliced Drax into bits there, apparently that's like back to the comics. He gets sliced up in a similar way.
Yeah, he's got a lot of he does a lot of weird stuff with the reality gem in the comics.
Okay,
in the comics, what's her name? Nebula, his other daughter, the bald one.
Yeah.
She's dead by the time he gets the gauntlet. And then just to show how powerful he is, he brings her back from the dead.
Oh, shit.
So she's kind of like this weird... He keeps her on the edge of life and death, so she's in constant agony.
Wow.
And he just leaves her floating off in his palace in the corner somewhere. And it's just like, that's the kind of level of fucked upness that he gets to.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of showing that in this one with just having her tortured constantly, like in that beam, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think...
Like he could pull her apart.
Yeah, they might have the moment, like, if it's a spoiler, it might be a spoiler, I don't know. In the comics, what happens is, after he has this huge fight with all the heroes, and then he has a huge fight with all the gods, he's distracted for half a second, and Nebula reaches over and grabs the glove. Even though she's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
nearly dead, she grabs it and pulls it off him, and then she becomes the god creature.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah. So at the end of Guardians, there's also Warlock is mentioned. Adam Warlock is like this creature they've created. The golden
Oh, that's
people,
right.
the
Yeah,
golden people that are after the Guardians, they create him. He's a
yeah.
big deal in the comic, and I just don't know where it's going to go, but I have a feeling that it's not going to end with just the heroes going to a space planet and fighting Thanos.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because like Guardians need like someone like that Warlock guy to kind of keep their film, the villain big and Thanos like. But also like Endgame is it like it's not just going to end there either. But I don't think Endgame is going to have a post credit scene. I don't know if it's going to have one. I think it might just like finish and then they'll just let the rest of the films go on.
Maybe,
But,
or they'll have like
yeah.
something funny or
They might have something funny. Maybe
yeah.
what do you, the guy you mentioned from Ragnarok, what's his name again? Krog or whatever. Maybe
Yeah,
he'll be at the end of
Korg.
it or
Yeah.
something. Korg, yeah.
Oh, that's it. Ragnarok. Jeff Goldblum, Grandmaster.
Oh yeah.
He's the collector's brother.
Oh, he is, isn't he? You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
they're both like immortal creatures, or like they live a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, he didn't die in that. Didn't see him die anyway.
No, I don't think so.
So here with like Banner, he talks about you're part of this, and you're part of Tony. You're part of me. You're not just the stone. It's. I think that has to be setting up the fact that in the next movie, Vision isn't dead. He's going to come back as like as a different personality, or like a slightly
Yeah.
colder robotic personality, but he's still the Vision. And then somebody will tell him about how Thanos killed all the people and he killed your
Mhm.
girlfriend. He's gonna be like, something clicks in him, and he'll have a little bit of humanity back.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting because like there's so many ways it can go. Because like if they get that stone out of his glove, like even one, and it goes back into Vision, then you got Vision, then you got Captain Marvel, the rest of the team against him. That's a powerful force right there, and the Hulk. But
But
yeah,
it's
it's just
not, Al. It's not. This is what I'm getting to. He clicked his fingers and killed half the universe.
yeah, but that's only when he's got all of them together. You get one missing, he's half the man.
Yeah, that's true. Then he can
So
only
and then
beat them with his hands.
yeah, we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like like the film needs scenes like this where they're all coming together, all trying to plot and plan. Again, we're seeing dynamics of new heroes together that we've not seen together before. So it's creating every single scene that we see here. It's a new dynamic. It was like, oh yeah, I've never seen him interact with this person, and oh, they're going to go into space and they're going to do this. That's what keeps your attention. I mean, it's a great action film, but they've all got their individual. Yeah, now we're going to fucking Wakanda. It's like every 10 to 15 minutes, it just spices it up, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing. If you're a fan of so and so, or you're a fan of this guy, you just got to wait, and then bam, he's in it. There you go. Here's Black
And
Panther.
this one was out 2 months before Infinity War. Apparently, when they finished filming Black Panther, 2 weeks later they started filming Infinity Wars. So they all had their costumes and stuff, and it just said keep them on. So.
Well, the other thing is, people said after Black Panther comes out, makes $1 billion, is super successful, and they're like, oh, I bet they regret killing him off at the end of the movie. But at the same time, they don't, because clearly the plan was always in place that the original Avengers survive and everyone else gets killed.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how popular Doctor Strange was or Black Panther was, you have to kill them. It has
Also,
to end.
it shows the magnitude of like what's going on as well.
Yeah.
Like right now, this guy's had his own full feature film. We love him. He's like since his film, he's much more powerful, and now he's in this vulnerable situation. It's like this is the only way to show people that we've got 10 superheroes of their own films, sequels, triples, whatever, and these villains can fuck them up big time.
Yeah, like this guy, Ebony Maws, is able to beat Strange all on his own, And he's just one of four.
However, I love how this guy goes out.
Yeah. Poor
this is
Strange. Poor Strange.
The one thing, and I think I mentioned it during our Strange review, was I do wish that he had his British accent, but I guess in the comics he is American, so I just feel like he would have just been a little better with the British one.
Oh, if he had kept the British accent.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just me being a cumber bitch. This is great. This is where he just realised he's on, and then he just bumps into him talking to a cape.
Yep. So if anything, it's kind of your fault that I'm here. I love that. And he's like, "What did you just say?"
And you can see the way that it's like his suit, because I love all the technology stuff. His suit is all like kind of skin tight, and then they're both using the same technology kind of thing. You can tell like Stark's been evolving the tech, saying, "Oh, my suit can be like this. His suit can be like this. I can introduce this into his because this is the way he flies through the air." It's the little details that the designers go into.
Yeah. The other thing, like if you're a film, like a big film guy like me or whatever, is that you notice that the people making the movie understand that there's the timeline in the movie, but then there's also the timeline for what the audience can actually deal with.
Right.
And all that means is that we haven't been in this scene for maybe 10 minutes audience time. You know what I mean? Like they've been in space, Strange is being tortured, Iron Man's on the ship, Spider-Man's on the ship. We haven't seen them for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But in terms of their reality, like only like a couple of minutes would have gone by.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard for Spider-Man to get into the ship and then meet Iron Man and all that, But as an audience member, there's only so many things you can hold in your head, so you kind of just go with it and like, okay, we're back to this scene now, we're at that scene, and it's but true. if you sit there and like I've done it and you try and work out how everything plays out, this whole movie from the moment Thor's getting attacked up until Thanos clicks his fingers, it's about 24 hours, maybe 36 hours passes.
Wow. Yeah, it's about right, isn't it?
So like the timeline of the movie is like 24 hours, and for the audience it's kind of like we're here now. And the directors are clever enough to know that they can do that and the audience will follow along. And I think other movie directors might not be as brave as these guys would have been to be like, we can leave that scene for 15 minutes and come back, and people aren't going to be like, oh, they're still here, what's going on, why didn't they do this earlier?
Yeah, and I think you're right.
And then you get to the point where you get to the final act and you've got the fight on Earth, the fight in space, the Guardians, Thor's axe, and you can just go from one to the other to one to the other, and you can just stream everything right together so that you get all these super exciting audience moments. Thor shows up, guys are fighting, the axe is made, all that happens, and then obviously they take it all out from under you, but it's really well structured movie for the fact that it's doing at any one time nearly 5 stories at once.
Yeah.
And at no point do you come in and be like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you mentioned it before as well. It's like we're comic book fans, we're Marvel fans, and we can watch this film and follow it, but like they also do a good job of someone coming in fresh, of just like telling the narrative in a fairly clean way. So,
yeah, and even there, just
well.
what we're watching here, it's a one shot. Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, push in. You don't do lots of cuts. You just let the two actors, who are very good actors, deliver the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great to see it from that point of view as well, especially with you doing your directing as well. So like you can see you're looking out for, they just cut there just for a second. They're cutting again here.
Yeah.
But it is just focusing on just them two, and like you said, great actors, and they steal the.
And this is one of my favorite acting moments. What he does right here. It's all in his face. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, you're an Avenger, and you can just see everything processes in his head. He's like, the happiest moment of his life. He's proud. Oh shit, I'm an Avenger. I got to do
Yeah.
this. I'm going to step up. I'm going to do a good job. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Can I do this? I don't know, but I'm going to do it. Like, it all just runs through his head, and Tom Holland plays it. And the kid's like, what, 20, 21?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's pretty young for
You
sure.
don't give him any dialogue. You don't give him any, like, I'll make you proud, miss. Just let the actor do his job.
That's funny. Just a little thing there is like he passed her that soup or whatever it was, but in
Yeah.
his hand it was so small.
Looks
It's a
like a little
detail.
thimble. Yeah.
It looked like it was a little like fucking I don't know what
A
a
little teacup.
scoop. Yeah. I hadn't noticed that before, like how small it looked in his hand.
Yeah. Do you think that they might have, they probably couldn't have risked it, but do you think that in an earlier movie they could have put Thanos and Gamora scenes in a bit more?
What do you mean in an earlier movie? Oh, you mean before this, like in like Guardians or something like that?
Yeah, just like tell the story a little bit, flesh it out a little bit more.
Possibly possibly. Did they mention him a lot in 2? I'm just trying to refresh my memory. I know in number 1 for sure.
Like when I was watching again, they have him. He has scenes in 1 where
Yeah.
but it's just talking, and they don't really mention him in 2, but they do kind of talk about Nebula and Gamora and how they grew up and they hate each other and what Thanos made them do and how he made them fight every day. And
Yeah.
but
I
in
think
terms,
just mentioning it is enough. But the thing is, I think the thing that helped was that in the Avengers they showed him, because they always showed him at the end, didn't they? Where he was on a seat in the first one, and I think in number 2 he was somewhere else,
yeah,
or in one of the other films. And I think that helped, just to see him and just be able to know that he's out there instead
Yeah.
of just mentioning him. He's not just a name. Actually showing him, like when they showed him on that seat floating in like the universe after Avengers 1, I was like, this guy's fucking nuts, you know. And
Yeah.
they definitely showed him once or twice more, so I think that helps with everything.
and there, that's like, this scene's great because it reinforces what he's saying, where she's like, you don't know that, and he's like, I'm the only one who knows it. Like, he's in his head, he's saving the universe and he doesn't want to do it, and it's so much effort, and how could he have this responsibility, but okay, I'll do it. Like, it's a heroic undercurrent, but when you look at him very closely, he's got this like complex, like a, what's it called, a messiah complex. Like, he thinks he's saving the universe. He thinks it's his destiny to be this great magical savior for everybody.
Yeah.
So you have this insane view of the universe, but you have it with somebody who is incredibly powerful. And that's like, that's the best type of villain, because at no point in this movie does he do anything just because he's an asshole or because he's cruel or because he's nasty. He's doing it for a reason.
Yeah, everything is just like, I need to get to that goal.
Yeah. And he says it himself, like, or Strange asks him, like, what are you going to do? Jumping ahead, Strange goes, what are you going to do? He's like, I will sit and watch the sunset rise over a grateful universe. So, like, he thinks he's doing everybody a favor. And at the end of the movie, that's literally what he does. He sits there, job done, watching the sunrise. He's not sitting on a throne. He's not ruling the galaxy or laughing or maniacally like, oh, I have victory. He's just like, yep, done, did it, winning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny now you mentioned like how he was killing her and then brought her back to life and stuff, and this is the way they're kind of showing it here. This is pretty messed up, actually. Like, he's just torturing her and ripping her apart. But it is like, I love that you told me that was in the comic, like the way he was bringing her, like she had died and he actually brought her back to life.
Yeah, and he just kept her on like the edge of life and death, so she was in constant agony. And
which is basically what we're looking at right here.
Yeah,
she is just in the verge of, like, you know, she's basically dead back, you know.
Yeah, the Thanos in the comic is, well, at least in the Infinity Gauntlet version, he's a lot more of a sadist. He's more of a cruel character. And the reason he kills half the universe in the comic is because he's in love with Death. Death's an actual woman, like a creature.
Right.
She's a goddess, or she's like the embodiment of Death. He loves her, and he wants to prove how much he loves her by killing half the things in the universe. So he's insane in the comic as well, but it's for a different reason. Here he's got more of a motivation, and it makes sense to him, but it's still driven by ego, and he thinks he's some sort of Jesus figure who's going to save everybody. Purple Jesus.
Yeah.
Here's one for you then. Now that everything's like played out, we've got all the characters are introduced. Who is your favorite in this movie?
In this movie?
Yeah. Like, which is a story that now you're watching again, you're like, yes, we're back here. We're doing this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think actually. Now you mention it. There's it. I don't know if there's a one particular, like they do such a good job of all of them that I love when it cuts back. One of my favorite scenes again is in Wakanda when they do like the whole rundown and they're all fighting in Wakanda and they open the gates. But then, so Captain America and those guys. But then these guys here, like Thor, and when he breaks off with Raccoon and stuff, is also my favorite duo. So I think it's a cross between those two, but. Again, like they do such a good job of all the characters, like even the Star-Lord and those guys on the Titan planet is great scenes. But I think the vibe with I like Thor and Raccoon's kind of relationship, and they break off, and then what's the guy that helps them make the axe? What's his name again?
The dwarf Idril.
We'll just call him Tyrion.
Tyrion the dwarf.
But yeah, like that dynamic is great. But yeah, it's either between these guys or back on Earth with Captain America. I like seeing that rugged Captain America. He's kind of defeated. It's after Civil War, and he's trying to help, but he knows things are fucked. Yeah. Which is why I'm looking forward to Endgame so much, because he's 100% getting back. Best buds with Tony Stark again, and I'm looking forward to that duo because we haven't seen that duo for about 5 years.
I'm looking forward to them dying. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm sure they're all gonna die.
It's the only thing that's gonna happen. They're gonna be best buds and then be like, "I'm so glad you're back, Tony. We're side by side." Oh God, your head exploded. Crap.
There's one thing I was wondering about was with Thanos, and he's so powerful. Is like, we mentioned it, I think, during the Captain Marvel review, but in Guardians of the Galaxy, where they all hold this, they're all powerful enough to take the stone,
Yes.
I wonder if something like that might happen in Endgame with the main Avengers. So Thor, Captain America, and Stark, and maybe one other, I don't know. But I wonder if they're going to somehow come together as one force to take the power of something, and then that's what's going to, I don't know.
Maybe
I wonder if a similar thing might happen where they're all like, we'll take it together kind of thing.
The thing is with that though, if you're going to be a real nerd about these things, in Guardians 1, Peter is the first one who grabs it and he doesn't die, and then the rest of them help him hold it.
Right.
The only reason he doesn't die is because he's only half human, and the other half of him is celestial.
Well, what about Thor? He's strong enough to take a
Thor's
star.
probably strong enough, and Captain Marvel's probably strong enough.
Yeah. What about a Jarvis that gets the stone back?
Well, obviously, I'd say, Vision would be able to hold a stone.
Sorry. Yeah.
So that means you could have 3 of them with stones. And if that means Thanos has 3 stones and they have 3 stones, that could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so many good things, man. So many good things. When are you seeing Endgame, by the way? I'm seeing it at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
I am seeing it at 10 o'clock at night on Saturday.
Okay.
So
we'll do a
it'll
Sunday.
be Sunday, because I'm already
we'll do a Sunday
3
like
hours
afternoon.
behind.
If you're good with afternoon, because then we'll get our review up on Sunday as well.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening as we try and plan out our future. Yeah, that's what you're here for. our calendar.
And thanks for listening to Infinity War commentary, which is 50% Endgame.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody's done a joke commentary where every line of commentary is "I am Groot."
That'd be so good.
I should do that.
I did see for Game of Thrones that Hodor wrote a biography, and it's just it's just the line written in there again and again and again. Hodor.
Actually, so now that you see it, E3, that's his name. I can see it there in the subtitles.
Oh yeah.
E3 makes a gauntlet, and he still has the mold for another gauntlet.
Sure.
So you could also create a new gauntlet for
I think
the
because
Endgame.
they've already shown this whole molding something, I'm not sure if they go down that route.
I'm so excited for this movie. I can't even talk about it. Because this one turned out so well, and there's so many things that you can do with it that I'm like, you said it, it's 3 hours long. This one's 2 hours 40 minutes, and when it ended, I'm like, I want more.
Oh, 100%. I was like, I need to go see this again, partly because I was like, what happened at the beginning again? But it was so long, but in a good way though. But 3 hours. I mean, I'm guessing 3 hours 5, maybe more. 3 hours 10.
Yeah, and like you broke it down, it's like the first hour is just going to be them on Earth dealing with everything. Tony's off in space, nearly dying. All that stuff in the trailer. But then I'm like, there's still 2 hours left.
But you know what? Now that we're watching this film, and what happened in the first 30 minutes of this film was shit tons. Like within 40 minutes of the film, I don't know. It was crazy how quick things moved. I have a feeling Endgame might move that quick as well. So it might only take 40 minutes of like. We've lost this, we've lost that, and we might get 2 hours, 20 minutes of other shit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I haven't seen all the trailers. I did see like the first trailer, and I've seen the latest one that came out. So I've seen scenes that Thanos is there, and Thanos is talking to the Avengers, and Tony shakes Cap's hand, and there's.
You did see that then? I
saw
sure.
that.
I didn't want to give anything away because that So I text you, I think, and I said, well, that was when. So over here in Canada, Thanos took down Cineplex. He took Cineplex. He literally took Cineplex down, and I couldn't get a fucking ticket. I was panicking big time. You'd got your ticket the week before, didn't you? Sorry,
I got it. I got it because I'm 3 hours behind. It was only 10 o'clock at night here when midnight ticks over. So I just went, I'll just take a look at Cineplex.
Yeah.
So it was like midnight your time when it was released. I got in.
It's
and
almost
I got
like
2
you
tickets.
planned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got it when the actual thing, teaser dropped, which was a fail because you should have just got it before that. But anyway, it was all a lot of fuckery. But yeah, eventually got it. But what were we going with that? Where were we going with that?
Where were you going with it? Don't drag me down with you. I'm too busy watching Tony and Spider-Man trying to land the spaceship.
Oh, just with the review, and then like when we get it up, when we're seeing it and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was just like if you take this movie, which is 2 hours 40, and then you take the next one, which is 3 hours, and then like if you're gonna get really into it, and you look at all the trailers for this movie, and you try and figure out, okay, they showed a scene from the end, they showed a scene from the beginning, they showed such and such, and they messed around with the CGI, so you didn't know what was happening exactly. Like, for example, Spider-Man's suit, they don't reveal it has legs in the trailer. When he's saving people, they don't have that. And then if you look at the 3 hour movie that's going to come out, and you look at all those trailers, and I've seen a couple of them, I'm like, that could happen at the end of the movie, that could happen at the beginning of it, that could happen in the middle. But based on everything you see, which is so far we know that Cap and Iron Man shake hands and they all get in a spaceship and Iron Man's trapped in space for a little bit at the start of it. That could all happen, like you said, in like the first hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it could be another hour and a half in the back end.
I think that's less than an hour and a half. So
yeah. If they were sensible, or not sensible, but if they were like clever, they would just be showing the first hour's worth of footage.
Yeah.
And the Russo
Yeah,
brothers
I
have
think
said
like
it.
you're right.
Like, they've put stuff in the trailers that is absolutely not in the movie. Scenes
Yeah,
that have been
there's
cut, deleted scenes, extra like different takes and all this that are not in
yeah.
the movie. And when I was
Well, I
watching
mean,
Infinity War, it's the same thing. There's lines and there's dialogue that are not in the movie.
it's fair to say that like out of everything I've seen, because I didn't realize you'd seen a few of those little teasers then, but in the trailers, which I wouldn't even call them a trailer, because if everything they've shown, you're 100% right. I don't think they've shown anything past the 1 minute 10, 1 minute 20 mark of the movie. I don't think they've shown anything.
Yeah, it just doesn't
The
make
one,
sense to, because you don't need to sell it on, oh, by the way, look what happens.
the furthest along scene I've seen in Endgame, which you would have seen, is the one with the handshake of Captain America and Tony.
Yeah.
You just see Thanos, and he's got that kind of he's got a sword, like that double-edged sword thing, whatever.
Yeah, and he's sitting on like a throne
You said
thing.
that's the furthest along scene I've seen of Endgame, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that is that I have not seen it. Like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing. They won't show anything past that either. So.
No. Like, you can work out basically now from not spoiling anything in Endgame for anybody who's listened to this, but you can tell Tony is in space at the start of the movie. He gets back to Earth. Captain Marvel arrives. Ant-Man is still alive. And they come up with a plan to attack Thanos. And then they attack Thanos. There is no way in hell you make that amount of stuff add up to 3 hours.
Yeah, no way. Yeah.
That's an hour and a half worth of stuff.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, that's a normal film.
Yeah.
That's just a regular film's length as well.
So for me, I'm just like, I was kind of like, I don't want to really see this. And then I saw it and I'm like, they don't show shit.
Yeah. As a filmmaker yourself, like being able to have it 3 hours, I guess is a joy. Like to not have to cut it down. Is it a pain in the ass to have to cut things down?
Oh, it would be for this kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine. It's just like, I want to put this in.
We got to lose this joke. We got to lose that thing. And actually, this is my favorite joke, maybe, I think. Just the look on Iron Man's face right now. Just wait for it. When he's like, they're not really... And he realizes who he's stuck with are these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just like, oh, God.
Meanwhile, in the background, Doctor Strange is spending God knows how many days and weeks and months traveling through time.
Going through all of the scenarios, isn't he?
Yeah. So, like, I think somebody did the maths on this after it first came out. He goes through 14 million different possibilities. Even if he only looked at them for 1 second each, he would be going through days and days worth of time travel.
Yeah.
To see all these. And then if you actually put it out into terms of him traveling through time and going to fight and like experience what the fight was like, he's probably spent a full year fighting Thanos.
Oh, God.
And only in one of them do they come out on top.
Yeah. So he's just like, just letting you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fucking...
So the other great moment, or the other great thing about that is that basically it's like a writer's dream, because the moment you have that scene in it where he's like, I looked at 14 million possible futures, we only have one that works. Yeah. Obviously that makes the next movie incredibly important. It means that things have to play out the way they do. And it means that me and you and everybody else, we can't sit here and like, why doesn't Strange go back in time? Why doesn't he fight him on Xandar? Why doesn't he go back to do this? It's like, he probably did. It was probably in those 14 million versions.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. I'll do this. I'll try this. Oh,
so as a writer, it's that it's a get out of jail free card. You can just be like, somebody comes up to the Russo brothers and says, oh, why didn't Iron Man go here and do that? And why didn't Doctor Strange? And it's like, he saw that future and it didn't work.
Yeah,
like,
no,
that's it.
Right.
You're done. Next question. Move on.
Apparently, with Thanos and the Soul Stone, which I know is later on, but it was supposed to be him kind of walking through the blood of all his victims as well. But that was like they were like, it's a little bit dark for the audience. So
Yeah.
I think they just went for generic.
I remember
colours.
when he popped up, good old Red Skull.
Yeah. So what's going on here?
So if you watch Captain America, the
So,
first
I know
Avenger,
I know he's in that.
yeah, at the end of
And then,
that, he grabs the Tesseract, the cosmic cube, and like he sees something or whatever. He doesn't die. He gets sucked into space,
right.
and this is where he ends up.
Oh shit.
Now,
Okay.
why that happens is just because whatever. It's a comic book.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you'll like this. The Red Skull isn't being played by the original actor Hugo Weaving,
Yeah.
good old Mr. Smith or Agent Smith.
Yeah.
They couldn't get him back for this for whatever reason, so he's
Okay.
being played by Ross. Oh, what's it? Marquand? Ross Marquand, who's in Game of Thrones, who's
Oh,
also a fantastic mimic. He does some amazing impersonations of like Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt and all this. You can find him on YouTube.
Oh damn.
He's
Okay.
doing an impersonation of Hugo Weaving's Red Skull.
Right.
So if you
That's
listen,
so
it's
smart.
not
That's
it's not
great.
exactly on point, but
Yeah.
nobody's really going to notice.
But close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when with the CGI of the face and stuff,
Yeah, he's
covers it up.
he's a Red Skull. What are you gonna do? It doesn't look the same. The other thing now, if we're gonna get into DC movies, finally gonna get there, is Marvel took 10 years to get to this movie.
Right.
Where you don't have to introduce anybody really. You don't have to spend time explaining such and such. It's like, this is a planet that has a soul stone and he has to do something to do this. This is Thanos. Here's his story. I don't have to explain who Iron Man is. I don't have to explain why Bruce Banner hasn't been around. I don't have to explain the Vision and Scarlet Witch. It can take 3 seconds. They're in a hotel room in Scotland. And like you look at, not even DC, like DC have tried to make their own universe. Universal Pictures have tried to make their own universe. Everyone's trying to make their own universe. And yet nobody's looking at the guys who have made $18 billion and copying the way they did it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And they're just like, we want to do it our way. Your way's not working.
Your way does not work. And for comic fans like us, after watching 22 movies for 10 years, to finally get to the point where one of them's going to die. There's no way somebody's not dying in the next movie for good.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of those moments where it's just like, feels real shit because one of your favorites is dead. But you're going to be just, it's worth it. Like, it's gotten to the point where like it's earned that moment. I always talk about that. Like, you have to earn the moment. And you've got to earn your heroic point. Like, when Captain America turns up and that music starts playing, that's a great moment. Not because it's the music and not because of where it is. It's because of everything that happened to get you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you've watched Captain America all these years. You've seen him fall out. But when that phone call comes in, he's there. He's a good man. He's going to save Vision. And it works because of that. And like, I think the reason I was getting to earning moments in DC and all this, in the movie, this is probably the weakest moment in the movie, I think.
This bit here.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree
good,
with you
but
as
it's not earned. Like, you don't quite, I don't feel as bad for her dying as I should.
I 100% agree as well. Like, it doesn't connect with me as much. The one thing I will say is what you mentioned earlier on is like, Thanos is crazy and he will do anything he can to get to his goal, and then obviously kill his daughter and stuff. But it's just maybe like you mentioned, maybe they should have shown more scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy of those two.
Yeah.
And then you would have connected with them earlier on, like 2 or 3 years ago in those movies. Just because we're seeing their relationship right now, as in like an hour ago, we just saw these two, and now he's throwing her off a cliff. We're not as connected.
Yeah, but this is, as you were saying, how good is it for a filmmaker if they said, yeah, you can have over 3 hours? They had
Yeah,
2 hours 40. If you said you can put in another 3 or 4 minutes of him talking to her as a child, some more flashbacks, you definitely could have used it in this movie.
yeah,
Now, don't ever ask me where the hell you would put it.
yeah,
But if you said you can have another 10 minutes or you can have another 5 minutes, you'd take it and you'd stick a flashback scene in. So
yeah, yeah.
there'd be a little bit more connection for when he does this. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you do like a peer review of everyone, like you kind of test this with your audiences. I wonder if this came back, and other things might have come back. Like I want to see more Tony Stark. You know, Iron Man's the main franchise. You know, I don't know. Like there could have been so many things that came back. You know.
yeah, but they made whatever it is, $2 billion. They're doing all right.
Oh yeah, but I will say that we are going to do our review of this, but I do like the fact that you brought that up because that's definitely one of my things. Is I did not feel that scene
No,
half as much as I thought I would have.
yeah, it's like I said, it's a very hard thing to define, and I can't do it very well as much as I try. But it's called earning it in my head. Like when I try and make something make sense, it's like earning it. And if you want a great example, you'd look at the Shawshank Redemption. You look at these guys who are in prison the whole time, and you look at how Red is always talking about how he wants to just build boats on the beach down in South America or in Mexico,
Yeah.
wherever it is. So when that final scene comes, there's no dialogue. There's no need for anything. It just you feel good watching it.
Yeah.
Random spoiler alert for Shawshank Redemption while you're watching an Avengers movie. But you know what I mean? Like you watch that movie for 2 hours as well, and then you get that payoff. It works like that. It's called setup and payoff. Like, okay, we're going to show you that there's a a cell phone hidden under the front seat of the car, and then later on that cell phone rings, and you're like, oh my god, I remember they had that cell phone under the front seat of the car.
Yeah.
Movies are built around that, but doing it with emotional things is so much harder. Which is why the end of this movie is probably going to go down in cinema history as something really special. Now, not just because
Yeah.
we're Marvel fans and we like this movie, but you take a $250 million summer movie and you end it on 5 minutes of people dying with no music, no real dialogue, and then you cut to black.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's
and then yeah, you've captured everyone's attention with no dialogue in the last 5 minutes of a movie,
yeah.
and they're out there thinking, "I want to see the next." Like Lord of the Rings doesn't even do that.
No. Like if you watch Lord of the Rings, the end of the Fellowship is they were gonna end the end of the Fellowship when Gandalf dies, and they said we can't do that. That's people aren't gonna watch. They're gonna not know what's happening. So they have an extra bit at the end of that. The end of the Two Towers is obviously the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is kind of like a mini victory. So you feel like, okay, there's more to do. The hobbits still have to get to the hobbits still have to get to Mount Doom and so forth. But it does not end on a horrible down note. And people talk about Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back doesn't end on a sad note either. Like, it's not a win, but it's not a loss. Like Han Solo's lost and he's captured, but he's not dead. Luke has lost a hand, but he did escape Vader. They've made they've gotten away from the bad guys. They're on the run. They're still there. It's bittersweet. It's like everything's up in the air. There's still a lot that still has to be solved. And you don't walk out cheering, but you don't walk out like you do in this movie being like, what the fuck just happened?
I know.
Like
I
can't.
love this. I love this part. Sorry, I just got to cut
Yeah.
in because of how, like, again, we had just seen Black Panther, so we know how powerful Wakanda is and the technology, and then they are just pummeling down.
Yeah.
And from all of this, or even right now, you're like, shit, fearing for these guys a little bit, you know.
And it's also like they said at the very start, it's like everyone's on the back foot. It's like, oh, you're in Wakanda, everything's good. We're gonna get Vision. Oh no, they're here. They're here right now.
Yeah.
You're not getting it out of his head quickly. You've got to get it. Evacuate the city. Engage all defenses. And get this man a shield.
That's another great one.
I think watching this scene where Thor, he starts the rings again,
Yeah.
and then he does that bit you like where he's in the middle of the star and he's nearly dying and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think his power levels are clearly jumped up because of Ragnarok. You
I
know what I
think so
mean?
as well. Like yeah, he's definitely, you can see he's like he's gone Thor 2.0 or 3.0 because ever since he got the lightning, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think Thor in the first movie would have done this kind of thing.
He wouldn't be able to handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense. You're like, okay, like I'm thinking Avengers 1. If you watch the first Avengers, he's fighting Iron Man in a forest. And like
Yeah, yeah.
he's obviously going to beat Iron Man given enough time, but you know Iron Man's gotten a few licks in or whatever. He's fighting Hulk in the helicarrier and they're having a bit of a back and forth. But like this Thor is like, yeah, he's Thor 3.0. He's the most powerful he can be.
I have to admit, they do a good job of like. I know he just started like a whole reactor up there, but like him and the ship and just like the way it's like he's starting it up and he's
Yeah.
hanging on. Like, they do a good job there actually. Like he really did look like he was struggling and he was like smashing things up, and then
Yeah.
yeah, he's a little bit knackered, but yeah.
But this is
Like
also
it's just all believable, like in a superhero way, you know?
yeah. But this is what I was saying, like set up payoff again. If you watch this and you see Thor's real strong, he's doing his best, and now he's doing something heroic, and he's melting the oil or he's melting the ore to make the thing. That's your setup. You're setting up that he's very strong, very committed. He's creating something powerful. He's gonna go kick Thanos' ass. So when they take that away from you, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. You've just spent the last half an hour trying to build that up, you know?
Yeah. And you're just left with nothing. And it's the same with the Hulk moments that are coming up where he's like, okay, Hulk, I know you're a last second kind of guy. This is the last second. You got to come out. And he doesn't. You're like, oh, shit.
You also mentioned that at the beginning. We saw him fighting Thanos within the first 2 minutes of the film, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then you were expecting to see it again, and I was 100%. But yeah, that's they keep you guessing, like what's going to happen, you know?
There's no way the Hulk doesn't come back in the next one,
Oh yeah,
but it's going to be if I was going to take a gamble on it, I would love it if it's one of the comic versions where it's the Hulk's body but Banner's brain.
oh yeah, nice.
Like the Banner says, I'll do it myself here and this, where he does it with the suit. If it gets to the point where Banner just like can control the transformation,
Right.
and he can fight Thanos with his, super intellect, but with the Hulk's power, that would be a pretty sweet thing to see.
Yeah, and actually, in a way, they've kind of alluded to that because he started to talk to him in this episode, this movie. It's the first time you could see him saying like, "Come on out, buddy," and all that lot.
Yeah.
So
The other thing with the Hulk though in the next one is just on the idea, like I said, with Vision has something to fight for, like just real quick short stories. Hulk is the only one who doesn't lose anything out of the Avengers.
Right.
Everybody loses somebody except Banner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure with the click of his fingers, he's lost family, but not that we know of, kind of thing.
Yeah, nobody that we would associate or care about, but like,
yeah.
Steve loses Bucky, Shuri and the Dora Milaje, they lose the Black Panther, they lose their king. Falcon is lost to what's his name? War Machine. Like everybody loses somebody except for Banner. And I just think
this is kind of like Lord of the Rings style, isn't it? With like huge.
It's also got probably my favorite moment in it because I'm just so weird like that. Is when it's every time it happens. It's when Captain America and Black Panther are running and they're running faster than everybody else.
Oh mate, I think that is maybe my number one scene. I love it.
I don't know what it is. It's just guys running, but it's like when they're going so fast, they're beating everybody else.
I love it that Black Panther's kind of running because like a panther, and he's in Wakanda, he's going, and then suddenly you see Captain America like just catch up with him,
Yeah.
That it's up there, man, with the best.
And like this is a
For
movie full
yeah,
of like giant robots and special effects and monsters and aliens and
yeah,
raccoons, but it's like just have those two guys just full out pegging it right down
yeah.
towards the barrier.
I know Leah loves when Thor comes in, and then Banner's like, "Oh, you guys are screwed now," you know. Like
Yeah.
that's a cool scene, but like, yeah, those guys just running up, just like we're gonna fuck you guys up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And this is again your expectation of the typical ending. You've got Thor shows up, these guys are cool. Like you said, there's cool moments after cool moments, explosions, big fights. It's like Lord of the Rings. And then they take it away from you and they say, "Nope, it
Yeah,
was all worth nothing."
yeah, yeah. We've shown you those scenes,
Yeah.
but it means nothing because you're gonna end on a crappy note.
I think actually my favorite joke is it's a toss up between
Is it gonna be the beards?
yeah, I think it's the beards or I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that
Yeah,
might be my winner.
that's good as well.
I'd have to say that my favorite character is Captain America, but he's not in this movie enough for me to be excited when he shows up, except for obviously when
Sure.
he's running. Who doesn't love
Yeah.
a bearded man running real fast?
Oh yeah, look at it. Look
But
at it
I'm
go.
excited for Endgame because I think it's going to be more about him and his like
It will be
his
heroic.
sense of loss and how he's
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
Because he gets the last word here. Look at him! Look at him go!
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know why it makes me so happy.
And I think
The
he's getting his shield back in Endgame as well.
yeah, he has to get it back because Tony will be back and he'll give it to
Yeah.
him.
Tony.
I was gonna say the
Yeah,
last
it is.
lines in the movie are Captain America's, and it's just, oh god, oh god.
Yeah.
Like that's the end of your blockbuster summer movie. You're sending the 10-year-olds home.
Yeah. Oh god.
I don't. You've got your little lad, and your brother's got a couple of kids, but I don't think anybody I know has got a kid old enough that could have gone to see Infinity War when it came out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
And feel the full effects of it, you know.
yeah, like how do you take the next year of your life to explain to your child it's just a movie, everything's okay, while they're
And you know
crying
what?
themselves to
Those
sleep?
those people are they're gonna watch it when they're older, and then suddenly, they're gonna be able to watch the Endgame right after, whereas we've had to wait a year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there
you
you
see,
go.
like Thor 1 couldn't do this. Thor 2, I don't think could do this either.
No, he wouldn't be able to. So
He should have
E3
said he should have said Hodor.
Hodor. Yeah.
Hodor.
If E3 can he obviously has the intelligence to still make stuff. He could make another Gauntlet. When
Yeah.
all we're doing now watching this is just coming up with theories for a movie that's coming out in 2 weeks. We got problems.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's all my brain's doing. I was like, what if this happens? What if Rocket does something? What if blah blah blah?
While we're just so remembering something that comes up here, another scene that didn't connect with me is Groot cutting his hand off.
Yeah, it didn't play as strong
It
as it should have.
Like they don't show him at all. Like you only see him right now.
Yeah.
And, I don't care. Like I don't feel like he needs to cut his arm off. As in, like I don't feel like he gives a shit. And
No.
And as far as I know, this Groot isn't the old Groot. It's a completely new Groot as well.
It's a new Groot. Yeah, he's not
So-
reborn.
I'm not. Yeah, this one I didn't connect with as much either. Like with him cutting his fucking hand off or arm.
I think what they missed is the scene where Rocket and Thor are talking in the shuttle, and Thor is
Yeah.
talking about how he's lost everybody and how he has nothing left. I think what they were trying to do is like that's when he feels bad for him. Groot feels bad for him, but they didn't show enough reaction shots of Groot
Yeah.
listening to the story.
Yeah.
That's what it needed, so that when this moment happens and he's like, Groot doesn't care about anybody else in the crew, but this guy who's given up so much, he's willing to do something for him.
They should have just cut to a scene of him playing his game, but then like actually he's not playing his game; he's listening in type thing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then,
I think
you know,
that could have been another one of those time-saving things. Like, oh, we don't have time to show that. And this is your classic moment at the end of the movie where, oh no, all the bad guys are winning and the guys don't
Yeah,
have enough strength, and oh, it was all a fake out because they wanted to get to the Vision and stuff.
yeah,
Nope. It's a
yeah,
double fake out. You think you're getting the great moment of Thor's going to come and save them. Ain't going to happen.
yeah. It's good. It's good this because you're like, shit. These guys are really taking over. They're like, boom.
Yeah, it's like he's back, baby. His new super, what is it, an axe or is it a hammer? Make up your mind.
Yeah, axe, hammer, Groot
What are
thing.
we going to call it? We're going to call it, I think it's an axe. We're going to call it an axe. And he looks cool and he's got two eyes, even though they took one out in the trailer.
Captain America's like, all right, I think we might be all right.
Banner's loving it.
He's just pissed.
Yeah, and it gives you that kind of feeling like, oh, it's got. I talked about this when we uh, did talk about Infinity War at a different point. It was that I genuinely didn't know there was a second movie.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I thought this was the one shot movie, so that I'm waiting for the finale over and over. And when the ending hits and it's not, and there is another sequel, I was blown away. I was like, holy shit.
right.
Because it does play out like it's getting to the point where Thanos is going to lose.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
All right. I got to pee again. So everyone take a shot. It's over to Al.
Shut down. Yeah, this is a good scene as well. You got like Doctor Strange playing it cool, but don't forget he's gone through all of those scenarios. He knows only one goes out good. So he is just thinking, what can I do to keep him occupied while everyone else is planning their little demise on him? And of course, this is his home Titan, which used to be lush, like he's going to show. But he fucked it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, you are a madman. Nut sack on his face as well, as Quinn says. And there he's saying a snap to the fingers. So, as Paul was saying at the beginning, he's using his glove, but he's like using his fist. Now he's getting a little bit more. Once they get all the stones, it's just going to be a little snap. Snapperoo. Shit just gets real. Boom.
Boom.
Boom. If your goal was to piss him off.
Yeah, there you go. Closing his fist. And this is cool because they're starting to show he can do whatever he wants. Like, that's the reality messing in him, all this.
Well, you were just gone there, and he did a whole click of a finger thing. So I was just saying,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he's kind of, the more stones he gets, the more confident he gets, and the more well, obviously powerful. But then he's like, yep, just a click of the fingers, boys.
I also had a thought there as I was off peeing, as I generally do. It's
Yeah,
another
just
one.
thinking.
It's another one of our outside the box theories, but there is something that's
Nah,
true to
sorry,
this.
sorry, I got to cut in there, but
Yeah, yeah.
boom.
Boom. Give him the finger.
Yeah.
So there
What
he
were you
tells
saying?
him, don't let him close his hand.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Magic. More magic. Magic with a kick. Spider-Man's great.
Did you ever
saying,
think you'd see Spider-Man fighting Thanos?
no, I love Spider-Man. I don't know who I love more, Captain America or Spider-Man. Probably Spider-Man. But I think I'm going to fall in love with Captain America in the next movie, and then they'll kill him, because that's what they want
I
to
thought,
do.
yeah,
Break my heart.
I thought you'd say Captain America. Captain America's your guy, isn't he?
I think I like him just because I know what's coming in Spider-Man's story in this.
Okay, yeah.
just the way they send them off. It's just
Yeah.
oh, it's the best ending to the film is it had to be him, and it's like Tony's story is finished in this movie. I think
Yeah.
he tried and tried and tried so hard to get ready for this fight, and what was it all for? One drop of blood. Like he just can't.
Yeah. He
It's
realizes
awesome.
like
Yeah.
it's going to be a team effort, but it's also going to be sacrificing.
Yeah, and this kid
Everyone
that
else has lost their life, you know.
exactly, yeah, this kid that is a hero and is smart, and he's looking up to him, and he's like a father figure, and he can't save him.
Here's the thing: while we're watching this, so this is him with how many stones? Because look what they're doing with him. And how
He's
many
got
stones.
4 stones.
4 stones. So they can
Yeah, because he
fucking
still
take
needs to
this
get
guy.
time, and he still needs to get the Mind Stone.
Yeah. So the time one's the most important, I think. Well, I mean they're all pretty damn important.
Yeah,
But this is just proof that they can fucking take this guy.
if with
if
four
he's missing-
stones, yeah, you could take him.
Yeah. And then imagine this, but Captain Marvel as well. But you know, he could. We're forgetting as well that he could have. I don't know how much time has passed, but with all the stones in the glove that he's got, he might have got more and more powerful because he's used to them, you know, and all that lot.
Yeah. But by the time he gets to Earth with 5 stones, the Avengers they don't even get to this level of success.
No. Yeah,
He sticks Hulk into a rock, and he just punches people and just knocks them out of the sky and stuff.
yeah.
So like 4 stones is doable, but everything above that's too much. But that's what I was thinking of in the toilet. Let's get back to me in the toilet. It's the most important thing. At some point in the next movie, 2 things have to happen. They have to beat Thanos, but also somebody has to reset things.
Yes, but like the theory is they're all in the Soul Stone, yeah.
Right, but what I'm thinking is one of the good guys has to put on the glove and reset everything.
Sure.
But I'm wondering if by doing that, like my thing is, I think Tony's going to get the glove. He's going to put it on. He's going to reset everything, click his fingers, and then realize, oh, I can fix everything.
Right.
And he's going to go a little bit insane because that's his thing of always trying to fix everything, always trying to be prepared.
Yeah.
And then I think, Captain America or Captain Marvel or whatever, probably Captain America is just going to be like, Tony, you can't do that. Just set things right. And he's like, but I can fix it all, Cap. I can fix everything.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to fight him. And, Captain America has to kill Iron Man for the sake of the universe or something like that. Or Iron Man kills Captain America by mistake, and then he realizes what he's doing and how wrong he is.
That is quite the scene there. He just threw a moon at him, and again, just shows the magnitude of how powerful this motherfucker is.
Yeah, and he's getting stronger and stronger.
I remember seeing that in a trailer, and that he was bringing the moon down, and I remember thinking, like, how can they deal with this? Like, how, like when he starts dragging a planet down, that's where you need Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and even she can't do much.
No, but she could probably, like, him bringing that down, she could probably at least, like, bring it back up in a way.
Right. But in the comics, they do talk about that with his, like you said, like, the longer you have the glove or the gauntlet, the longer you have the stones, the better you are at working everything.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Comedy gold. Notice you've copied my beard. And he doesn't even call him Groot. I am Groot.
I love that. And I love that whole I'm Steve Rogers as well.
Oh, it's so good.
You know it's going to be... I just remember when I texted you and I said, that, like the tickets are out for Endgame. And I was like, I got goosebumps off the latest trailer. And the main part I got goosebumps off was Tony Stark and Captain America shaking hands. Because he's becoming Captain America again. He's getting the shield back. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Because right in this movie, he's not Captain America. He's obviously Steve Rogers, but he's defeated. And he's coming back big time.
Well, he has to, because he doesn't know what he's going to do if he can't.
Yeah.
And like looking at this scene here where you have thousands of special effects going on and giant armies and all the powers are working. Like, this is a big, big movie. But the next movie's going to make this movie look like this movie makes the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Because, like you said a minute ago,
I can't imagine it, to be honest.
but this is the problem you have with these movies. Not the problem, but it is a problem. Like, you've got to always up yourself. And like you said, in the previous scene, he pulls a moon down. So in the next movie, that's your baseline,
I guess,
for his power levels. Like, if he's in a fight and he's not pulling a moon down, you're going to be like, why isn't he pulling a moon down?
Yeah.
So it's also like with the glove, like, oh, something didn't go his way. Why doesn't he just turn time back? Why doesn't he destroy everybody and make them into string cheese?
Yeah.
Like, you're constantly having to up yourself over and over, which is why I really don't think what we've seen in the trailers is past the hour half, 2 hour mark at most.
Yeah, I can definitely say that for sure.
Like, Captain America goes up there with a shield made of vibranium. He's just going to go, okay, your shield's made out of chocolate.
Yeah.
Done. Like, that's what he can do.
Yeah, it's so like you said, I just can't wait to see it. I just don't know what angle and how they're gonna portray that, you know.
Because even this, like I said, even if you didn't know, or even if you did know there was a sequel, I didn't. Just the way it ends is just, they're clearly able to take risks and able to tell a story they want to say.
Yeah. I'm taking a leak as well, so everyone do another shot, and I'll leave you a pull.
That's pretty good. That's like 4 for this one movie.
I know.
I thought we'd get through like 8 or something. So here's his Hulk moment, my last second moment. Nope, not going to happen. So if Banner can either force the Hulk out, he's got to be like a rage monster, or he's scared, or he's going to get trained to be a better fighter, because that's why Thanos takes him out. Oh, we're just theorizing about a movie that's coming out in 2 weeks. Let's just talk about this movie. This scene is awesome. This scene is 2 giant creatures beating the crap out of each other, and they both got bad arms. A nice throwback to Empire Strikes Back. And Banner kills a guy with his smarts, not with his brawn, but with his brains. So you've got a development in him, and you got a development in the Hulk, but they got to figure things out. It's not paying off what sets up at the start of the movie, so you're obviously still working towards a sequel. And if they are shooting these back-to-back, the scripts have to be in place. And I don't think it's going to be stupid enough to be time travel. I think Vision has to come back. Because you're constantly getting these moments of, oh, they're going to do it. Oh, the hero's going to save him. Oh, he's going to come back. We don't trade lives. All of this stuff. And then to have the ultimate loss and the ultimate defeat. If I was writing it, the freedom and the privilege to do whatever you want after the end of this movie is insane. Because even though you've got the ultimate MacGuffin and the ultimate Deus Ex Machina in the glove, you can still go so many routes. And as long as you work with the characters you have, this movie proves people will watch. People will watch talking head scenes. You've got that scene with Rocket and Thor was back to back with Thanos and Gamora, and them talking about the Vision, and it's talking heads, but it's great characters and good dialogue, so you're going to watch it. Which is why the trailers for Endgame has just been, oh yeah, this is this guy talking, and this is this guy talking, and what are we going to do? You don't need the action scenes. They're going to take care of themselves. Another one of those CGI moments. He had no arms in the trailer. If you guys want to go back and watch it, something I do after I watch a movie I'm excited for. I go back and watch the trailers I didn't watch the first time around. Plus, it's also fair to screw up science and say gravity doesn't work because he destroyed a moon. It just makes for a cool scene. Strange holding his own.
It's all going to shit.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, watching this scene with Strange is, they do have, Wong is still in it, I guess. So they still have access to some magic, so they still have access to other dimensions.
Is he still in it? I guess they didn't show him.
They didn't show him die, so
Yeah.
Assuming somebody isn't shown dying, I'm guessing they didn't die. Or you just write him off and say he did die. But if you have Wong, it means you have other dimensions. And if you have Ant-Man, it means you've got Quantum Realm. And if you've got Vision, who was connected to the Mind Stone, then you've got his connections to the gems. And then obviously Thor's had some connection with the gems before. So there's so many ways that this film could go. And it could go through all of them at once. Like you could attack him from a different dimension and attack him through the Soul Stone and attack him in the real world. And it would all work. And it's like a saying as you were gone is that you can do whatever you want in Endgame. Even though like he's a super god who can do whatever, that means you can also make the heroes do whatever to defeat him. It doesn't have to be a straight ahead, as this scene proves, it can't be a straight ahead fight. He's got 4 stones here and he beats Iron Man easily.
Yeah. I know. Well, like you said, look what happens here in all of this, all the tech that he's gone through, and that's all he did.
Yeah.
All
and that's
that.
After everybody else had a go at him.
Yeah.
And this is Tony just learning that he's not strong enough. He can't beat him. And the idea that they're selling in the next movie is, oh, we're going to go straight ahead and fight him. We're going to go and confront him. It's like, clearly that's not the movie. That just wouldn't work because it doesn't work here.
Yeah. They're going to have to do... Because basically what happened here was they... Sorry, I haven't seen this for a year. Like,
I know. This is a good scene.
It's a big scene, yeah.
It just again when I'm talking about great actors, like this scene works because Brolin, you have my respect, Stark, and just a look on Tony's face where he's like, I failed so bad.
Yeah, he's just like, Jesus Christ. You see it, yeah, I love that the suit is all fucked.
Yeah.
Vibranium's not like rebuilding itself.
It's only 4 stones, and Strange makes us play. Yeah.
Look at that rainbow.
I love this this thing. It's another one of those Doctor Strange moments that works because he's the guy he is, where he just plucks it out of space.
Well, also, it's just like, so right now, Thanos was going to kill him. He was just like, see you later, buddy.
Yeah.
And the reason why Doctor Strange has come up here is because one of those scenarios is the one he's doing right now.
Yeah, the one scenario that worked is one where Iron Man's alive.
Yeah, it's like we need these guys because it's a scenario that he's seen. Captain Marvel's in it, the Avengers are in it. He knows people die right now. He knows that half the universe is going to fade away.
Yeah. But at the same time, you can also play it the other way, which is if I was a betting man, I'd say at some point Doctor Strange, it might be a joke at the very end of the next movie when he comes back or whatever, of like, oh, I didn't see it like that. So he didn't know for sure. All he knows is Iron Man can't die, for example. Right. That's in his vision that happened. Iron Man was alive, or Iron Man helped them win.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say they'd get to the point of he knew exactly how it's going to play out.
Mm.
But he dies at the end of this movie anyway, so you're not going to get that payoff of like, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, because he does die, nobody knows how it's going to go.
What does he say there?
We're in the end game now.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another throwback to that in, I think it's Age of Ultron. Tony says it. He goes, that up there, like he's talking about the space and the attacks, like that up there, that's the end game. That's what it's all about.
Right.
So he's, they've done a little bit of foreshadowing, but Marvel are they're very good at making it look like they plan things, but there's a lot of juggling going on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So like this scene is a really good scene for his character. Like in the next movie, like I said, his girlfriend kills him because he asked her to. Then he comes back from the dead only to watch as something gets pulled out of his head. And then while he's weak and defenseless, she turns into dust. So if he like comes out of his coma or whatever and someone explains that to him, that's going to fuck him up.
He's not going to be best pleased.
No. And this is 5 stones in now. So we're keeping our stone count. And nobody does anything to him at this point.
No. He's This is something to expect from in-game. If they were to take 1 stone from him, they are seriously struggling. Well, I mean, they can't get to him.
No. And even at the start, he has 1 stone and he destroys all of Thor's ships and beats the crap out of the Hulk. Like, if he's still using the stones, I don't think he is. I think at the end of this, he takes this stone, he takes it off, or he's not using it anymore.
Yeah.
But if he is keeping it on and getting stronger and understanding his powers, there's no way they're going to beat him with a goddamn shield and a hammer. Just can't happen.
I haven't seen this since thing. This is emotional.
It's emotional. Yeah.
It's emotional.
Elizabeth Olsen,
this is
she does a
pretty
great
crazy in
job.
the cinema. When you went to see this in the cinema, did you have any like cheerers or like things going on in the crowd or?
Oh, when that Captain America bit shows up, there was a fair few woo woo.
Oh yeah, nice.
A lot of jokes, but it was, like I said, my favorite moment in maybe the last 10 years in the cinema has to be the end of this movie.
Yeah,
just the dead
for you,
silence.
Because for you as well, because you didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah, but I mean, like as to be in a cinema, to like have that experience of being in a room with 400 people watching IMAX. It's why cinema is so amazing. We're all strangers. We all watch the exact same thing, and I'm just sitting there listening to the silence of everyone. Like, what the fuck?
It was sat there. He just bent all his metal, just like completely crushed him.
Yeah,
everyone's just getting fucked.
Yeah, it just keeps his hand closed and he can do what he wants. She doesn't even get near him. Groot can't do anything. And it's only because she has some connection to the gems that she's able to fight. And Captain America tries his best because God bless that Rogers. But he's next to useless.
Yeah.
Maybe if he had a better shield, that's a problem right there.
That's a powerful scene as well. I know there was a couple of the size of his hands or like just one of his fingers.
Yeah. And he just hits him with his regular hand. Doesn't even need the gauntlet. And in the comic it's the same thing where what he's doing is, when he first has the stones, is what a mortal would do. He's still thinking like a mortal being.
Yeah.
So he's still walking and still fighting with his fists, but as he gets more powerful, he just knows how to make things happen. He doesn't have to block himself or defend himself. He just makes himself invincible.
Boom.
And I think this moment after where she thinks she's done everything, I think Thanos starting to grasp just how powerful he is.
Yeah.
And he doesn't worry. He's just like, oh, I'm just going to turn time back. It's fine.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, wait a second.
The other thing I should say is, whenever I get around to making a video on this, is if you look at Thanos' story, he only kills 2 people in this entire movie. And one of them is Loki, who tried to kill him, so that was self-defense.
Yeah.
And the other one was Heimdall, who made Hulk disappear. So that was
he kills his daughter as well.
Yeah,
yes.
And that's the other one where he sacrifices her for the cause.
Yeah.
So like everyone's like, oh, he's a bad guy and he kills half the universe. But like he says when he does it, is like they don't feel any pain. It's mercy. They don't grow old. They don't die of, getting hit by a bus or, falling off a cliff. Like, everybody's going to die eventually. He's just making it happen and making it peaceful. So that's another reason I don't think that Vision dies here.
Yeah. It's just like, I think I'll have this.
Yeah. Plus, if Vision turns out looking like that cool color of like gray and white eyes, that'd look pretty awesome for the next movie.
Is there a reason why that one goes into the bigger slot?
In the comic version, it's a different setup, and they're also different colors. The most powerful one in the comics is Reality, and Reality goes in the middle. Reality controls the rest of them. In this one, the Mind Stone goes in the middle.
So he's got all the stones there, and Thor still managed to get that all the way down.
Yeah,
but I guess
he'd only just learned how to do it.
Yeah, so it's just like with experience, he's just going to get more and more powerful.
Yeah. But there's also like this aspect of Thanos' personality where he knows he can fix everything right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's baiting him. It's like what happened earlier with Gamora, where he created a whole fake scene just so he could see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually. Sicko.
Yeah. Because there's nothing that stops him now reversing time again so Thor doesn't hit him.
Boom.
And then we're in the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So if you're watching
this is interesting.
Yeah. This is really interesting because to make this happen right after that big moment obviously implies that the Soul Stone has something to do with
Endgame. Like,
Endgame.
Endgame's this is gonna play a bit of a thing. Like, they want to show this kind of this area, because this is basically when he clicks his fingers where everyone's going to be, isn't it?
It has to be, because like you were talking about time, like runtime of the movie. Obviously the Russo brothers said this has to be in it. The movie's 2 hours 40 minutes. We need these 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, the film moves too fast and has too much in it that nothing in it's wasted. There's no wasted scenes. Like, no good movie has a wasted scene. You'll find lots of them in bad movies. But obviously in this type of massive movie, at this point in it, taking time out to do this has to mean something.
Yeah, it's too much.
So, like, is the glove no longer working or whatever? And then you're like, no, it still works. It's fine. And then, you watch this in the in the cinema, or just watch it now. Like, there's no music. They don't make it.
Yeah.
They don't force you to feel anything. They just let you feel what the characters are feeling. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? Why are people disappearing?
Yeah, this is fucked. Yeah, and you're just seeing all these like epic people, and it's like, what?
Yeah. And there's nothing to do. There's no one to get angry at. There's nothing.
You're right. There's the no music is actually quite great. Like, you don't need to set the mood. It's already there.
And there's like half of the things. It's just as a filmmaking thing, it's just great. As a blockbuster moment, I'm wondering how many other studios are going to try and copy this in years to come, where they'll have like a 2-parter, and at the end of the first part there's going to be a real sad thing. Nothing's ever going to really top this. It took 10 years to get here, and then you let it play out where it's just like they're just turning to dust. They're just disappearing. And it even gets down to, like, nowadays everyone knows that if you see the trailer, the Avengers logo turns to dust and stuff.
Yeah.
It's now part of the culture. We all know what that means.
That reaction there, that face there is great. It's just utter panic. And then like it's spread across galaxies. These guys aren't even on the same planet, obviously.
Yeah, and if
happening here.
you're looking closely, you can see that Tony doesn't have a suit at all anymore. He doesn't have any bits left.
Yeah.
That's why in the next movie he doesn't have the Iron Man capabilities. He could make the helmet, I think, and that's about it.
Right.
I think he makes the helmet. You know what I mean? The Guardians get pretty fucked in this, don't they? Nearly
Yeah, they
all
do,
of them
actually.
die.
It's this raccoon, isn't it?
Raccoon, yeah, he's the only one left. Rocket's the only one there.
Yeah. Here we go. That's a pretty important thing there. It was the only way. And
Yeah.
obviously he gave him Thanos the stone and goes, we've started the end game, which basically is that one scenario.
Yeah. Oh, I can't watch this scene. Tom Holland's just a great actor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they play on that quite a bit in Endgame as well. Like how he's lost and stuff, and
Yeah.
let him
Nebula's
down.
still left. Yeah.
She's utterly pissed. I feel
Yes.
like we're watching Endgame right now in a way.
Yeah. It's only a couple of weeks. It's going to be crazy. And that shot, that was in the trailer. No one knew what it was.
That was in the trailer, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're left with the people, aren't we?
Yeah. It's the original Avengers plus Rocket and
Yeah.
Vision.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, War Machine's not an original Avenger.
Technically not, but he's in.
He's in Iron Man 1,
2
yeah.
and all that, and 1, yeah.
This is it. Steve just, oh God. Oh God. And this is why it's Thanos' story. This is why the film works for me
Yeah.
on so many levels, that he's not a cackling maniac.
He's back at he's in a peaceful place, isn't he?
And if you look, he doesn't heal his arm. He could easily heal his arm and heal the glove, but
Yeah.
he doesn't. He got stabbed and he healed that up or whatever. And it's like the warrior, the scars of what he's done, and he's proud of it. Now he can relax and retire, I guess.
So, when he with the healing of the arm and stuff, does he get weakened if he does big powers, or is that just from Thor?
I think that's something they've put into this version of it.
Right.
Like the level of power he has in the comic is cosmic. He fights gods and he doesn't affect them at all.
Yeah.
But in this, clearly, like the glove put in so much. It's such a massive thing to ask that it damaged the amount of power.
I think that's actually a really good way of doing it, though, because look at like in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they all had to like hold the stone because it takes them over. You know, he has all the stones, so it's bound to do something, and whatever individual's going to use it. Like you remember, you mentioned it earlier on of like maybe Tony Stark does get the glove, but maybe what he does with the glove disintegrates him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it burns him out. Yeah.
It burns him out. He's completely gone, but he knows that's going to happen. You know, something like that. So, just incredible. I mean, we've got to do a review of this as well. But I like that. That just zoomed by as well. Like that was what 2 hours 20 minutes. 2 hours.
Something like that.
minutes?
Yeah. We should do the review after Endgame. Let's stick it all together in one giant super. Once we see the full picture.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Anybody who's watched this,
we'll get this one up. We'll get this one up ASAP for the people. But review wise, we'll get them up together. Yeah.
Yeah. For everybody who is listening, it was awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, we love this movie because we just spent so long saying this scene's great, that scene's great, this character's great. Which I should say we take for granted. This is a 2.5 hour movie, which, like I said, it flew by. It's funny. It changes tone. It has a amazing ending nobody saw coming. Great action scenes, great acting, top to bottom. There's not a single flaw in the movie, really. There's a couple of moments that were let down that didn't hit home, but like just in general, like the fact they've released this level of blockbuster, it just pisses on just about everything else out there.
It really does. It was everything we asked for, and the worst thing that could have happened to DC was for them to release Justice League, their equivalent, and any one of Marvel's single films pisses on it, but they just happen to release it near this one. It's like, sorry guys, you're totally fucked.
Yeah, like Justice League doesn't measure up to Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is beyond any other movie. And I'm not saying that because I'm a big Marvel man. I just mean, in terms of production, this takes 21 other movies and combines all those favorite characters into a 2.5 hour blockbuster.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Like the closest you get to that lately would be Mission Impossible Fallout, which is Mission Impossible 6. Yeah.
Look at that fucking cast. Sorry, but it's like crazy.
Yeah, and how many of them are like stars that could hold their own movie?
Oh yeah.
So you take Mission Impossible 6, which is like 6 movies in. By the time you've gotten to that, you've had 5 movies with Ethan Hunt. You've got like this whole build up and whatever. So that's how you pay it off. And the next one's great. And you're like, yeah, that's great. It's perfect. This one takes 21 movies worth of good credit and then cashes it in.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying, like, it's not because it's a Marvel movie. It's just because as a beast of a production, it's the, like I said, it's the payoff. You've earned it. It's why Lord of the Rings, the third one, will make fans cry, because you've watched 2 other movies that are 3 hours long to get to that final moment on the Mount Doom.
Yeah. 100%.
It's why sequels work well when they do work, because you've got this extra emotion. You've got these extra amount of hours with characters. And I don't think anybody's coming along in the next 10 years that's going to match what we've been privileged to see in the cinemas.
Well, I mean, it's also like, I don't think Marvel will be able to do it again for a while, because they started off 10 years ago with Iron Man. They didn't expect it was going to become this big and come to this, you know? So even for Marvel themselves, it will take a while to get back there. But yeah, like you said, just it's like an honor to watch all those films, and most of them are excellent as well. There's only a few duds along the way, but yeah, it's just and I think as you said as well, like the end of this film and the way it ends, being a superhero film and ending so morbidly, you know, is going to be is a big thing. Is a big thing, because, you know, superhero films are kind of supposed to be cheesy and end with a happy ending and smiley faces, isn't really?
Right.
So.
And it's also, you mentioned it too, is one of the great things. It's one of the pains of it, but it's kind of why it's worth it, is that we're watching these as they happen throughout our lifetime. Whereas in 10 or 15 years, your little lad's going to watch it and he's going to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to watch the next one right away.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about having to wait and having to, you kind of earn it, and you kind of had to go through all the what ifs and is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And, you know.
Well, a buddy of mine mentioned it with Game of Thrones, which is on this Sunday, but Game of Thrones with Jon Snow, when he passed away, when he died
had a bad day.
I can't remember what season. I think it was season 6. End of season 6, he died. Spoiler alert.
It was earlier than that. It was like 4.
Spoiler alert, by the way, for Game of Thrones. Well, his someone was like his wife was watching them all for the first time. So he died at the end of that season, but then she goes, "Oh, put the next season on," and then he was back the next episode. So
right.
For her, she was just like, well, he's only been gone 24 hours. You know what I mean? Whereas for us, we were like, he was gone a year. You know, like people were like scouting out like Wimbledon, and they were like, oh, I saw him at Wimbledon and he still had his beard, so he might still be alive, you know, and all that Reddit chats. So it's the same thing with Endgame. We've been waiting for this Endgame for so long. We've got so many theories, and I've never been more excited for a film, and I know that we were so excited for this one as well. So
I don't know if I should be more worried because with Game of Thrones, I've said it when we talk about that. It's like, I just really hope they stick the landing. I hope they like bring everything together.
yeah,
But with Endgame, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
with Infinity War, were you scared that it would be shit?
Yes.
Like, because my only worry with Endgame is time. If they fuck with the time stone too much,
Right. Yeah.
it
If they
might
do
piss-
that, yeah, it'd be
it might piss
pissing me off.
That's the only thing I can see that will annoy me. The only other thing that will annoy me is if Captain Marvel like does take on Thanos just one-on-one. That might annoy me as well. But was there anything about this one that you were like, oh, please don't do that?
It's not so much, please don't do that, but it was like you were saying, or I was saying, or one of us was saying, somebody said it, just how you're kind of worried because you got to go from Thor to Guardians to Captain America to Black Panther. And like to go back to before this movie come out, I remember us talking about what movies are coming out before Infinity War. Black Panther's coming out, Captain America Civil War is coming out, Guardians 2 is coming out, and it's just like we were trying to plot Marvel's tone before this movie comes out, so we know like what kind of movie are we getting? Is it a comedy? Is it going to be goofy like Guardians, or is it going to be serious like Black Panther or whatever? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, are they going to mess it up? Are they not going to? Are they going to go? Because the last movie the Russo brothers did before this was Civil War, and Civil War is it's probably the darker movie from the Marvel universe.
Definitely.
And the tone is a little bit dark, and then there's like the fight scene in the airport's like its own little beast. But I was just like, I don't know what they're going to do.
Little scene now compared to this, and you're like, that's such a tiny scene compared to what we've just seen. But it was awesome.
So for this movie, I was kind of, I guess I had the worries that people had from the first Avengers of like, is this going to work? Are you going to be able to stick this many people into a movie?
I remember you saying that as well. I remember you specifically saying, I hope they keep the vibe of each film and each character. You don't want Thor coming in acting like Tony Stark or whatever, you know what I mean? So like and they definitely did that,
That's why for Endgame I'm just like, as long as they don't go down the time stone route, I'm fine, because they've earned my money on this one.
Yeah, it seems like we're quite in the same opinion with the film and the next one as well.
Right. So here's our after credits. If everyone's been hanging out, make sure you let us know on Twitter. You can just hashtag Fury Dust. That's will be your hashtag. Let us know you watched the movie. Hashtag Fury Dust.
Oh, there was a hashtag in Infinity War, by the way, and it was called Thanos Demands Your Silence. And I wonder if they'll use it for Endgame. But it was for don't post spoilers. Yeah. So I don't know if they'll use that for Endgame.
Oh, the other thing I should say.
This is super cool, just because you've mentioned it quite a few times, what happens with this helicopter in a second.
Yeah.
Because Thanos has clicked his fingers, and that pilot is not there anymore.
No, there's consequences now.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love that. And
if you're going to reverse time, those people are not gemstone people or whatever, or soulstone people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gone.
They are dead. Yeah.
The guy who's driving the bus, or the doctor who's doing surgery, or whatever it is. There's people who are going to be consequences of the disappearance that weren't caused by the disappearance. So to just reverse time, it'd be so shit. But I genuinely don't think they're going to be that stupid, because everyone can see it. So everyone can see it coming.
If we're saying it, hopefully not the rest.
Exactly, we're idiots. If we're saying it, they're smarter than we are.
There's one thing that was one thing. So that little bit there at the end.
Yeah.
That was in a way the true ending, because they had the Avengers song at the end there, and it was Hope, and it was obviously Captain Marvel. But if you didn't wait for the credits, you probably could walk out crying. But but
Well, that's the thing.
for
I
me,
did
is the
cry.
real
I'm not ashamed to admit that when Peter Parker bit the dust there, I was a crying little bitch.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
because the way that final scene plays out is Bucky disappears and then Falcon disappears and it's you're just realizing what's happening
yeah,
and there's no emotion up until Black Panther disappears and they're like, oh my god, the king is gone. And then when you get to Spider-Man, everyone starts to be able to say something before they leave.
mm.
You know, uh, Drax says Quill and such
Yeah,
and such, but it's Peter has enough strength that he's able to hold on that a little bit longer.
yeah. He's just like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Yeah, and the I remember this. This is another little our final little fun fact thing is it's not fun at all. It's about a guy dying. They had different lines written for him during
Oh
that
yeah,
moment, and it wasn't working apparently. And the Russo brothers did say to Tom Holland, just go what you want, like just improvise. Like, what would you say in these moments?
okay.
And that's why it kind of feels very real. Because if you're 21 years old, like, and you're just told like you're gonna die, it doesn't seem real. But then the only thing you're gonna say is, "I don't want to go."
Yeah,
And that's why for me that works. Is like I don't think you could have written anything better than that because that's just fear. That's just genuine fear that a child would have.
and he's got those facial expressions like you mentioned with the whole "you're an Avenger now," you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's those little details which kind of you're like, oh god, you know,
Yeah.
he's fading away.
It's gonna be crazy
Uh,
now. The next one comes out.
Cray cray.
Yeah, looking forward
Well,
to it.
yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and you'll see plenty more of these. But
Yeah,
well,
we got
wanted to
one
get
more
this-
podcast,
What's
and
that?
then we got what was it one more week? Yeah, it's one more podcast, and then the
No,
week
we've
after
got
that.
we got one more podcast. So we got it's like it's a week and a half, 2 weeks until Endgame, isn't it? 27th.
Oh yeah, it's two more podcasts. Yes,
Yeah,
the 27th.
it's but Game of Thrones is this Sunday.
That's right. So
So-
we're gonna do a Game of Thrones one, so at least we'll have some of that shit to talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk about because we usually do a podcast on Sunday, so maybe we might have to switch them to Saturday because Game of Thrones is on Sunday night.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So we can't have that fuck it up.
No,
But,
can't fuck it up.
Unless we move it to Monday and then we can just talk directly about Game of Thrones. It might work
Yeah.
out better.
Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in while we try and improvise ourselves to make ourselves look professional.
Yeah. But this one's obviously a 2-hour 41 because that's how long the film is. But
Yeah.
you know,
We love it. We love you guys for listening. And I can't wait for Endgame to come out. We can do a big proper review of both of them back to back on the Sunday.
yeah, 100%. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys. Take it easy.
All right, bye.